D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. We are live at Boomba's in East Nashville at 1003 Russell Street. Come chill with us and watch the NCAA tournament games. It is a beautiful day for basketball, if you ask me. Boomba's is offering some excellent specials as well, including game day wings and fries for $10, $10 domestic and select local draft pitchers, and $20 domestic and $25 import tall boy buckets. And Willie, I know that you are frothing at the mouth, not literally, of course, but you are frothing at the mouth to provide us some score updates from the NCAA tournament. So without further ado, I turn it over to you.
I live for these updates, Adam.
I know you do.
This is what it's all about.
Yes.
It's already been a good day so far, and we're just getting started. Tennessee's going to play a little bit later. But let's get you caught up with what has happened today in the NCAA basketball tournament. So far, I would say that there's a good bet this will end up being the game of the day. It is without a doubt so far, but Kentucky survives against Santa Clara, a true toss-up. It went back and forth. The lead changed hands I don't know how many times in the second half. Kentucky tied the game twice in regulation in the final minute, but that's not even the full story. Santa Clara hit a three with less than 3 seconds to go to put them up by 3, and it looked like it was over. Herb Sendek, the former Kentucky assistant, tried to call timeout, clearly was doing so. The referee was not able to see him. Kentucky inbounds to Otega Owe, who hits one from just across the half-court line to tie it. And Kentucky goes on and wins 89-84 in overtime. Just a thrilling game. It was so good all the way through. It was one of those games. It wasn't just a great ending. It was just an excellent game all the way. So Kentucky gets it done. Owe ends up with 35 points, and the Wildcats advance. They will play the winner of Iowa State and Tennessee State. Unfortunately, Tennessee State just came out of the gate a little bit tentative. They weren't able to get much going offensively. They got way behind, and late in the first half, they trail Iowa State 53-26. So the Cyclones with a major lead in that one. Hofstra leading Alabama, the 13 seed over the 4 seed. They used to be called the Flying Dutchman. They're now the Pride. I'm not sure which one's better. They're both pretty unique there, but Hofstra leads 32-28, 2:29 to go in the first half, so keep an eye on that one. Miami of Ohio will play Tennessee. That one you're going to want to make sure you're checking in on. It's going to be a great game. That being played in Philadelphia. That one starts at 3:25-ish. Iowa and Clemson later today. Northern Iowa, St. John's. These games all coming up later. UCF, UCLA, the 10 versus the 7. Queens versus Purdue. Prairie View, the 16 versus number 1 Florida. California Baptist against Kansas. Furman and UConn will go at it at 9 o'clock, and then the last tip-off will be Missouri and Miami at 10 versus 7. A couple other finals. Virginia just escaped and beat Wright State 82-73, but it was closer than that. Wright State had a lead at halftime, and it went right down to the last couple of minutes. Virginia, though, made the plays in the final basically 2 minutes to pull away and win by 9. Arizona easily over Long Island University. The Sharks go down. 92-58 is the final. I had the Akron Zips. You know, I bought in on our buddy C.J. Moore. He's like, go with Akron. Texas Tech's got the big injury to what's his name?
J.T. Toppin.
J.T. Toppin. And I was like, okay, I got that. Let's go for it. 12 versus 5. But the Zips had no zip. It was over. They did make a nice run to get close at halftime, but Texas Tech was playing from the lead. They won 91-71, pulled away. So that is your school board update. And so the tournament's off and running, guys.
I do have one note on Otega Owe from CBS Sports. He is the first player to record 35 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists in an NCAA tournament game since Larry Bird.
Wow.
In 1979.
Now that's something you go tell all your family.
He's in good company.
You tell that to all your family. And really, guys, the guy that played so well for Kentucky was Brandon Garrison off the bench. He made a lot of big plays, some of the key plays in the game. 10 points, 7 boards off the bench for Garrison.
David James, is Connor Newt okay? I was worried about him.
So he was, if you look at his Instagram page, he was celebrating like a madman. And he looks pretty happy right now.
Congratulations, Connor. That was one hell of a game. I know a lot of our listeners are Kentucky Wildcats fans. We want to hear from you. 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. But let's go back to yesterday. The Vanderbilt Commodores defeat McNeese 78-68. Vanderbilt's first NCAA tournament win since 2012. Tyler Tanner led the way for the Commodores, 26 points for Vanderbilt. By the way, we might be joined by Tyler Tanner later in the program. It's going to be a surprise for all of us. It's either going to be Tyler Tanner or Devin McLaughlin, who was 6 of 6 from the field yesterday against McNeese. That coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. So we'll all learn together who our guest is going to be. But Vanderbilt advances to take on Nebraska. That game, a 7:45 p.m. Central tip-off in Oklahoma City. Vanderbilt opened as a 2.5-point favorite against the Cornhuskers. We will break down that matchup throughout the program. But Willie, I heard from Max Hers yesterday that Coach Willie was in full effect. So give us your assessment of the Commodores' win against McNeese.
Well, I thought I don't think I'm going to say anything that was different than anybody that watched the game. I thought Vanderbilt came out and they were a little tentative. They had not played a team like McNeese. That's the thing that McNeese had to their advantage. You can sit there all day and say, hey, you know what? We're really good at handling the ball. We don't turn the ball over. But I don't think Vanderbilt had played a team that aggressive all season. And we were saying it all week leading up to that game. McNeese was the best team in the league, in the entire country in Division I at causing turnovers, getting steals. So you're going to turn the ball over some, but it took probably 8 to 10 minutes of the first half for them to really get used to how to handle that. Once they figured it out and withstood the big run, they were down 16-5. I thought they settled in, and then it was a matter of were they going to make the shots and were they going to be able to just play their game and win. So to have the lead at halftime after the way they started, I thought was the key.
Derek, you said during our brief program yesterday, you felt the Commodores got punked.
Yeah,
at the beginning of the
I
game.
did. And listen, I hopefully didn't nobody take offense because I didn't mean anything by it. But if, you played basketball growing up and when somebody from one place come to another place that's sort of known for their toughness and you come into the gym and you're just intimidated. It's not that you can't play with them from a skill standpoint. You just feel intimidated until you get in the game, you sweat, you get knocked around a little bit, and it becomes we call it a gut check. It's either you're going to stand up and play this game the big boy way or you're not. And it seemed like in the first 7 minutes of the game, Vanderbilt was timid. They were intimidated by McNeese. The same thing happened with them when they went and played Memphis earlier this year. That sort of up and down physical nature. And in both contests, the referees allowed them to play. And it wasn't until Vandy got settled in, figured out the flow of the game, figured, okay, if we're going to play this, we got to play this physical brand of basketball. And they did that. They still got out rebounded on the offensive side. But again, as I said before the game, it's not about necessarily that you're out rebounded. It's get the rebounds when it counts. And I think Vandy at times got the rebounds when it counts. But I thought that first 7 minutes, man, basically they got punked. They were soft. They walked into that gym not from a talent standpoint, not better than McNeese State. They were from a mental standpoint. McNeese State had them beat before they even walked into that gym. For me, it's sort of like the Mike Tyson thing. You walk into the ring and you're intimidated before the fight is even started. And it's not until you get into the fight, Evander Holyfield, that you figure out, okay, I can beat this dude. And what happened? Evander Holyfield beat Mike Tyson. I might bit him, but Evander beat him. And that's what happened with Vanderbilt. They walked in there, McNeese State bit him a couple of times, and then they figured out, okay, I want to wake up and play basketball, and they dominated the second half.
So what it took for Vanderbilt was having their earlobe chopped off, is what you're saying. Not literally,
but figuratively, yes.
But it's almost like they needed to get shots or something because it took a while. But I give them credit. And the thing about the NCAA tournament that probably makes it a little harder for a team like McNeese that got off to such a great start. Mm-hmm. And we saw this. Ohio State fell way behind and came back. the TV timeouts are so long, the game gets lengthened out. And then you throw a review in there, a couple timeouts, and man, the next thing you know, you're like, hey, there's still 13 minutes left. We got plenty of time to get back into this thing. So I give them credit for keeping their poise. Now they have to play a completely different type of team in Nebraska. McNeese, for all the things they do well, they're not a really good shooting team. Now they came out on fire. They hit some shots, and I'm thinking, uh-oh. If McNeese is hot from three, that's going to make it even harder to come back. But they eventually cooled off. Then it became a matter of getting the rebounds, as you were saying, and McNeese did hustle and get a lot of extra shots. But Vanderbilt was able to get it done. Now they have to completely switch how they're going to play. Nebraska will have 5 3-point shooters on the floor at all times. They have a very unique offense and a very unique defense. And maybe the biggest thing you're going to notice tomorrow is they're playing a road game tomorrow.
Yes.
Vanderbilt is.
Yes.
Nebraska has had a total takeover of that building. It was unreal to watch. It was like Miami, Ohio the night before in Dayton. But that makes a big difference on a supposed neutral court. It's going to be anything but neutral feeling tomorrow. So Vanderbilt's going to have great poise.
And hearing Mark Byington and the players after the game yesterday, they made that point. It's going to be a road game mentality. I believe Mark Byington said to Andy Katz after the game, we're used to in our league hearing Go Big Blue. Tomorrow we're going to hear Go Big Red. As the Cornhuskers win their first ever NCAA tournament game, 76-47 against Troy. So that's
you talk about getting punked. Troy got punked.
Yes.
Nebraska, there's just that contagious, when you're a good shooting team, you saw it with Miami, but the crowd's behind you, one of your teammates hits, you're open, you're like, there's no way I'm missing this. Like it just seems like it was scripted almost, the way they just annihilated. I mean, Troy looked like something out of the Gladiator movie. Here comes Troy. They just got slaughtered.
It was, as I discussed with Derek Mason yesterday, a very, very stressful day in the Vingan household. Watching Duke claw back to beat Siena, avoiding what would have been one of the biggest upsets in NCAA tournament history. I did this yesterday. I will do it again. This is a reading.
Yes.
This is a text exchange between my wife, a dramatic reading between my wife, Bridget, and her sister, my sister-in-law, Mary. We'll start with Bridget. Quote, and she was out of the house at this time, which is smart move on her part. She went to pick up our son from school. My wife, quote, is Adam okay? Duke is losing. He's probably pacing. Mary, I hear no pacing. My wife, Bridget, grimacing emoji, spiral eyes emoji. Mary, JK, he was pacing outside. If one of my neighbors wants to pull a prank on me, they should upload their doorbell camera footage to the internet, because it's just me walking up and down the block for most of the second half. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. Duke plays TCU. I keep doing that. TCU tomorrow, mid-afternoon, late afternoon. So I survived, but as we know, gentlemen, the name of the game in March, survive and advance.
Okay, give us what you saw, why you thought, because it was going right up against Vanderbilt.
Right.
I only was keeping a little bit of an eye on it. I wasn't analyzing. I know Duke has 2 injured players.
Yes, 2 injured starters.
So was that why? Why do you think they struggled so much?
It's a good question. Siena showed a lot of spunk, and those players were hitting some shots that, honestly, they probably shouldn't have hit. They threw a zone at Duke, which I don't think Duke was prepared for.
That first half.
But ultimately, I think Siena wore down. They played their starters the entire game, minus one sub with 10 seconds left.
They subbed with 10 seconds? I was wondering about that. I kept hearing about that. Nobody had gone 5 through the whole game since 1979.
And that was because he didn't want the guy to foul out.
Right. I believe he took out a player who he didn't want to foul out. And from what I understand, Siena, their rotation had been limited by injuries, and I think one player was deemed ineligible at one point in the season. But I do think Siena got gassed. They shot 8 of 34 from the field in the second half. I believe they shot more than 50% from the field in the first half. under 25%.
And their
in the
biggest lead
second
was
half.
what, 13?
13. That was Duke's largest deficit of the season.
Wow.
13 points, but Duke found a way. Patrick Gungba, Duke's starting center, could play tomorrow.
Okay.
John Shire says he's quote-unquote hopeful that Gungba could play tomorrow against TCU, a physical team. So Gungba's presence would be welcomed for us Duke fans. But yes.
So are you okay? Do you think turning the page they'll be all right, or is this a chink in the armor?
Well, this is the age-old question, right? Is this the quote-unquote wake-up call for Duke, or is this the injuries to the starters catching up to them? And it'll be interesting to see how they respond tomorrow.
Well,
can you
at
imagine?
least Carolina is not in it.
Don't even get him started.
We'll get to that.
I
We'll
do have
get
to
to
say,
that.
can you imagine the guy for Siena on the bench? 10 seconds left. They haven't subbed the whole game. You're like, Derek, you're in. You're like, okay, coach, I'm in. I've been waiting for your call. You go in there with 10 seconds left. You're supposed to foul. I'm sure you know that.
I'm shooting the ball.
That guy.
I'm shooting the ball, man. Give me the ball.
I don't know if that's ever happened though. Where 10 seconds left, you go back.
Oh my
your
goodness.
first sub of the game.
Jerry McNamara, who was a national champion with Syracuse 20-plus years ago, who coaches Siena, he's going to get a big-time job out of this. Probably at Syracuse. The Syracuse job is open, so we'll see. 615-737-1025. Your reaction to yesterday and so far today of the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Vanderbilt faces Nebraska tomorrow, a 7:45 p.m. Central tip-off in OKC. You can hear that game right here on 1025. The game is the Commodores attempt to reach the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2007. 615-737-1025. We will get back into the Commodores and college basketball. But coming up next, Elliotte Friedman, Sportsnet NHL insider, will join us. We'll discuss the Predators GM search. He has some new reporting about that. And we will get into the NHL and everything hockey with our friend Elliotte Friedman coming up next. 615-737-1025. Come play hooky with us. We are live at Boomba's in East Nashville. And all of our NCAA tournament coverage is presented by Toyota, Let's Go Places, Nelson's Greenbrier Distillery, Maple Street Biscuit Company, Thompson Machinery, and Pizzona MD. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. Let's go to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend Elliotte Friedman, Sportsnet NHL Insider, who is presented by Old National Bank. Get Old. Hi, Elliotte. How are you?
I'm good, Adam. How are you doing?
We're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. So you have new reporting on the Predators GM search. You wrote at sportsnet.ca that the Predators have had a lot of Zoom calls and conversations. They've reached out to a lot of different people. You also mentioned that sooner or later the Predators will cut down their list and really dig in, and it could happen as soon as next week. Do you get the sense that the team is favoring someone with experience or someone looking for their first crack at the big chair?
I think both are on the table. I think it would be wrong for me to say it's going to be one kind or the other definitively, Adam. I think they've interviewed both, and I'll tell you a funny story. So I called someone this week, and I said, "Have you interviewed for the Nashville job?" And they said, "No, I have not." And it's someone who I suspect they're interested in, but I'm going to hold the names right now to protect the guilty. And so he said, "No, I haven't." And so then I called someone else, and I said, "Have you interviewed for the Nashville job?" And he said to me, "Okay." We talked back and forth, and he said to me, "Well, when you're asking me if I've interviewed, are you asking me if I've had a formal conversation, or just like an interview or a conversation or like a discussion with them?" And I said to him, like, "What am I, a lawyer? Like, what are we talking about here?" I actually, because it does make me crazy when people, you do realize you're dealing with lawyers from time to time. And it makes me crazy the way they parse words like this. And I said, "Okay, like, what are you telling me here?" And, he's out. Again, he said he would tell me this under condition of not using the name. But he's out. I don't think he's going deeper into this process. But he was the one who kind of told me a little bit about what they were doing. They were doing a lot of let's get to know you kind of things. Let's see if we can get a comfort level with each other. I suspect there are some people who've met in person, but I believe most of them have been Zooms or phone calls. And there's a wide spectrum there, Adam. Like, I think people like Brendan Shanahan have been interviewed. I think people like Mark Bergevin and Peter Chiarelli have been interviewed. And I also think there's been a group of up-and-comers, people who are the highest thing they've done so far is kind of an AGM role, and they've never been a GM, but people who do think they can be a GM someday. And I think the next thing I suspect, and like I said, I think it could happen as soon as next week, I think they're going to cut down their list and they're going to start meeting people in person.
Elliotte, you told us last week when we spoke that you've heard that Predators owner Bill Haslam isn't totally against the idea of the Predators undergoing a true rebuild, which he didn't seem too keen on when I asked him about that at Barry Trotz's retirement news conference last month. I'm sure the GM hire is going to have an influence over that decision, but what might have changed Haslam's mind about that?
Well, I always have to be careful about these kinds of things, Adam, because again, it's another example of how lawyers have ruined the world, okay? And rebuild means different things to different people. There's rebuild, there's retool, there's refocus, Adam, I used to like it when the world was a lot simpler a place, okay?
Yes, I agree.
So I think the fair way for me to say it is that I think if, like Barry said, that he was willing to move out veterans if they were willing to, as long as it got young players, that maybe they would step back a little bit. I think that Haslam is okay with that if there's a legitimate plan. But again, like, you guys are right there. You won a huge game last night. I don't know what it means in the long term. Like, right now, you guys are battling. I don't know what it means in the long term. But the one thing I do believe more now, Adam, the more I'm hearing about it, is that Bill Haslam, if whoever he hires, he's going to say to them, I'm hiring you because of your plan, and I want to let you implement your plan. So I think a lot of what is going to be determined about how the Predators go here could come down to who walks in the door and says, this is what I think the best path is for the national hockey team. And he convinces, and I don't think that Haslam is predisposed to one way or the other. I've heard he just wants to be convinced that this is the best thing for the team and why. And how can you convince him that that's the path Nashville should go?
Elliotte Friedman is with us. And Elliotte, I heard on your podcast today you talked about maybe paring the list down here a little sooner than I'm not sure if anybody really had a timetable, but I'm curious, as this unfolds while the season's going on, you use the word predisposed, how influential how they play in these last 14 games could be, because it's hard not to get caught up with it if they can stay in it to the end, because there was a time where they thought there was no way they could get even to this point. And conversely, if the wheels fall off at the end, and we don't know what the status is of UC Soros right now, but that could happen too. So I wonder how that could influence the plan.
I think, well, the thing is, the GM really can't do anything now, right, Willie?
Right.
So, I think this. I think that you let this year play out and you adjust as maybe you might need to adjust, right? I think basically what this is about now is the only thing someone coming in now can talk about is what their long-term plan is for the team. And, even if the Predators make the playoffs and surprise people in the playoffs, which would be great to see, you still have a lot of guys who are closer to the end than they are at the beginning. So you've got to have a long-term plan. And I think that's what this is about. So I think you can still interview. Like, I think the interesting thing, Willie, is that there seems to be some feeling in Nashville that right now we're the only team with an opening, right? And who knows what it's going to be like in a month. Maybe there's 2 more teams with an opening. Maybe there's 5 more. I mean, who knows? I'm just making this up as I go along. And I do think the Predators seem to like the idea right now that they kind of have a look at everybody for themselves. I've certainly gotten that impression.
Okay, so do you think time-wise they could, in theory, have somebody hired before the end of the season, or will they have to wait until other teams' seasons are over, et cetera, if they're taking somebody off of somebody else's staff?
I think that could depend on the person and the other organization. I don't want to be pinned down one way or the other, but I don't think it's impossible that Nashville decides on someone either before or right around the end of the season. I no longer believe that's an impossibility. And the other thing that can always happen, is if the other team is a playoff team, Willie, you can say, hey, this person is going to be the next general manager or whatever you're going to call them of the Nashville Predators. They just can't join your team until we're done. You could always do that.
Elliotte,
as long as you have the league's approval and they're not suspending everybody for a year. Yes.
Do you have any sense? I heard you and Kyle Bukowskis discussing this factor of trying to figure out who has the best chance. Every day the odds, the percentage chance that so-and-so is going to get in, it can fluctuate in 3 days. If you win 2 or lose 2, it could change. It could be a 30% swing almost. But you mentioned this, everybody's on fumes. So considering that, is there anybody you give the edge to?
Well, first of all, I have to say, Willie, thank you for listening to the podcast, because I did it last night at about 3 Eastern time, 2 your time.
Wow.
After a long day of travel where my luggage got lost and I was doing the telethon, I have no idea what I said.
Did you pass Matt Murray at all on your travels? Matt Murray had to fly in from Winnipeg and arrived in the third period last night.
I was kind of laughing. That was pretty funny. Like I have no idea what I said on the podcast. I've done like a couple of radio hits, and I was like, I said that, and they're like, yeah. I go, I'm glad it wasn't worse.
You're doing great, Elliotte.
So far, so good.
Thanks, Adam. Sorry, Willie. What? About that,
Yeah, the group of 4 or 5 teams.
Look at schedules. Like Winnipeg, I think they played Colorado twice more. Now they beat them once, but I don't like that for them, and I don't like the way they're going overall. I have to really go through the schedules, but I know I've told you one thing before. I always bet on the best goalie. Always. And that's why what happened with Saros and what his situation is really looms large over this, because he's had an excellent season. I just think that when I look at you guys and I see Yossi, I see Stamkos, and I see O'Reilly, especially O'Reilly, who's got so much experience at this and never seems to lose his composure. I just love all of that for you guys. But Saros needs to stay there. He needs to he needs to be there, and he needs to be available. I'll tell you this, I'm amazed at, I'm amazed at the Western Conference. At the Pacific Division, it is unbelievable to me that we are even in a situation, Willie, where teams like Vegas and Edmonton could be playing themselves into trouble. Right now, you look at them, I think they're 6 points ahead of you guys. I know they're the other division, but I'm just wondering if any of them could even walk into wild card trouble. They're sleepwalking through the end of the season. So, as long as Saros is healthy, I like your guys' chances, but I'm shocked that, if San Jose and Seattle can win a few more games, can they put pressure on one of those other Pacific Division teams and put them in a bad position for a team like you to catch them? I feel
like this is something we discuss every year around this time. It probably could move out to other sports too, football for sure. Definitely basketball. But at this time of year, there seems to be an anecdotal sense that the referees don't want to call a lot of penalties. And they sort of let some things go that maybe in a different part of the season they would call. But this is all hypothetical. I don't have research to back this up. But do you have people telling you that right now? Because I know in the past this has come up.
I'll say this. I have had my fights over the past 2 weeks with both referees and the Department of Hockey Ops. So I am fighting with everybody right now. But the thing is, the biggest thing I've been fighting about is not so much the calls, it's the goaltender interference.
Oh, boy, yeah. We've seen a couple that have been perplexing.
And there were a couple of barbs sent my way at the GM meetings by some people at Hockey Ops. It's funny. You just have to laugh at it, right? They're under siege. They're passionate people. You dish it out, you take it. But I do think this goaltender interference one, particularly the slight contact in the crease, it's a problem right now, Willie. I don't like where we're going. I think it's bad. I think it's bad for the fans. I think it's bad for the teams. I just think that there was one, for people who are not familiar with what I'm talking about, there was a call last weekend, a goal that was allowed to stand by Ottawa in a game against Anaheim. And I just think it was a bad omen right before the playoffs. And there was some real pointed debate about it at the GM meetings this week in Florida.
Elliotte Friedman, Sportsnet NHL Insider, has been our guest on D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick. He joins us every week during the NHL season, and he is presented by Old National Bank. Get old. Elliotte, get some rest. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch up next week.
All right, guys. Have a great week.
You as well. 615-737-1025. A quick score update. Miami, Ohio, and Tennessee tied at 10. Now Miami has a 13-10 lead against the Vols. Roughly 4 minutes into the first half. 13-10 Miami, Ohio against Tennessee. 615-737-1025. Let's continue the Predators conversation coming up next. Nashville, a big win last night against Seattle at home, but an injury looms large. We will discuss that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. Miami, Ohio, and Tennessee tied at 13, 14 and a half minutes remaining in the first half. We'll continue to provide score updates. Alabama up 50-41 against Hofstra. Utah State up 31-27 against Villanova. We'll keep you apprised. Iowa State 79, Tennessee State 45.
Oh, boy.
A rough one for Nolan Smith's Tigers.
But
yes,
a great first season.
absolutely.
For Nolan Smith.
Absolutely.
One of the things that they mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast that certainly is something to keep in mind is Nolan Smith took over very late in the process. He didn't really have a chance to do much with the roster. So him just getting there, I think, and then making the tournament the first year, I think they're building something pretty cool over there.
Absolutely. The Nashville Predators defeat the Seattle Kraken 3-1 at home last night. It was a good night in the standings for the Predators. The San Jose Sharks lost in regulation. The LA Kings lost in a shootout. Of course, the Kraken lost in regulation as well. Nashville now 1 point behind the Kings for the second and final wild card playoff spot in the Western Conference. But as we discussed, Willie, with Elliotte Friedman, UC Saros' injury looming large. He is day-to-day with an upper body injury. He suffered the injury during morning skate yesterday. He went out on the ice for practice today, took some shots, but didn't stick around for very long. So his status for tomorrow's game against Vegas is uncertain. But it goes without saying, Willie, a lot hinges on UC Saros' health. However, the Predators, another big win, 1 point out of a playoff spot.
And I think that was the big story last night was that Justus Annunen, who is like Pekka Rinne and UC Saros from Finland. There's a lot of pride and tradition in goalies that come from Finland. And I thought his performance last night said a lot about the respect that he has for UC Saros and the team and their mentality of being able to, I think that's what's gotten them here. They have been a really tight-knit team. So I think that Annunen, because he's playing his best hockey of the year right now, if you take a look since the Olympic break, he's played very well in his 4 starts. I think he could keep him in it for a while, but eventually they're going to need UC Saros because they have so many games in a short period of time. And I wish we had more information on UC Saros, but it was interesting what happened today and yesterday, really. It's something a little bit unusual where you can't just say, well, that's what happened. It happened right there. Nobody really knows. So we'll have to wait and see. But I would have to think that based on what happened today, that there's a pretty good chance that Annunen would get the start tomorrow because, A, he's playing well. It's a back-to-back anyway. And Justus Annunen has played very well on home ice. He's won his last 5 starts at Bridgestone Arena. And he's almost been lights out in those starts.
Now, assuming Saros is unavailable this weekend, would you go on and in Saturday and Sunday?
Yes, no doubt. In fact, I think he would play every game until he absolutely looked fatigued or was ineffective. And Chris Mason told the story last night. I remember this well. A very good Predators team that actually almost won the President's Trophy. 2006, 2007. Thomas Faucoon early in the year broke his thumb. Chris Mason played 25 games in a row and played very well. So it's an opportunity for Justus Annunen, who I think is a pretty talented goalie that never really has had a chance to play extended. I think he's mature enough, but this is a great chance to see what he's made of.
Let's go to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunting.com, and welcome in Michigan in the borough. Michigan, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Hi, Adam. Hi, Willie. It's good to talk to you guys, as it always is. Last night was really, really, really something for me. It was a treat to be in my section and to be with so many people who most of the year, especially the last 6 weeks, have treated it like like we're going to be at a wake relatively soon. Adam, I'm not a tanker. I do not believe in the philosophy of tanking. I believe this is a team with possibly 5 60-point players by the end of the year. And I cannot explain how excited I am in what I've seen from young Matthew Wood. That guy is something else. That is a future captain, a top 6 forward, and second or first line center. But here's my question, because Adam, you and I've had some back and forth about this. Is it possible that the Nashville Predators might actually be like a 2 timelines team based on what you're seeing right now and what's coming relatively soon? And some of this is just born out of the excitement of Ryan Ufko. But I know Tanner is going to be coming at some point. We'll get Igor Surin in the next couple of years. We'll get Cole O'Hara, Cameron Reed in the next couple of years, David Edstrom. I'm really starting to wonder if the next general manager isn't going to be a rip to the studs guy and is going to be a 2 timelines guy. And can't wait for tomorrow. Hope to see you guys there, and I hope you all have a great weekend.
Thank you, Michigan. A lot of enthusiasm from our friend Michigan. And to his point, Willie, about Matthew Wood, that is a great story over the past couple of weeks. I saw the numbers that you had on the broadcast last night. The team had been struggling at 5-on-5.
Yeah.
And Andrew Burnett told you and the rest of the broadcast crew that some of that has to do with the fact that a lot of new players are integrating into new roles after the trades of McCarron and Smith and Bunting and Blankenburg. But Matthew Wood playing center well, making an impact offensively, that is an encouraging development. And look, Michigan and I, great dude. We've chatted online, we've chatted in person. And I know that a lot of you don't agree with how I see things. But as Elliotte said, Willie, there really isn't anything anybody can do right now. It's a playoff chase. The trade deadline is over. The new GM is going to have his way of doing things. We'll see what happens in the summertime. And for as much as I harp on future, I will say I love playoff hockey. And I am enjoying the fact that the Predators are in meaningful games this late in the season. I did not expect that around Thanksgiving. So, as Michigan said to me yesterday on X, he was going to call so I could browbeat him. I'm not going to browbeat you, Michigan. But I understand the enthusiasm. It's exciting when a team is in the mix, even if we don't know what's going to happen if they make the playoffs. It is exciting. I appreciate the enthusiasm.
Well, we brought this up during the broadcast last night. That game had playoff type of intensity. That was not 2 teams playing out the string. And so there's a benefit to that. It's not only you're evaluating Matt Wood playing NHL games or Ryan Ufko or Zach LaRue trying to kill penalties in the third period of a 1-goal game. There's a lot at stake there. So even if you fall short, it is meaningful. I know people, they've mocked that word sometimes when Barry Trotz has brought it up. But these games, there's something on the line, and everybody on the ice is playing that. Then the other part that I have stressed is when they decided to keep Ryan O'Reilly, who wanted to stay. To me, that's a big part. But also, Matt Wood learning the nuances of playing center. Matt Wood isn't built like Ryan O'Reilly, but like Ryan O'Reilly, he's not a speedster, right? He's not a guy that's going to be an effective center because he's got blazing speed. Ryan O'Reilly is a very effective center who's the same way. He's not going to win any skating contest up and down, but he connects the dots. He finds his way. There's a lot of little things that Matt Wood is going to learn because Ryan O'Reilly is on the team. And so to me, that's valuable. And so the next GM is going to come in and he'll make his decisions. But, the caller, Michigan, he mentioned some pretty interesting things. Like, what does the new GM think of Surin, who is over in the KHL? Does he think he's going to be a big needle mover when he comes in? Tanner Molendijk and some of the other guys that are still young and developing. What he thinks of those guys might influence whether he tries to get younger and younger or still keeps the veteran core while the rest of the guys develop.
The Predators are back in action tomorrow at home against the Vegas Golden Knights. Colton Sissons returning to Nashville.
And Jeremy Lauzon, who had a big fight last night.
That's right. Jeremy Lauzon, too. Quickly, also, I want to give a shout-out to Ryan Johansson, who officially announced his retirement from the NHL yesterday. Played 533 games over parts of 8 seasons with the Predators. 362 points in those games. One of, I would say, Willie, the most popular players in Predators history.
He was on, and I don't know if it's been released yet. The latest episode of the
It
Preds
has
official
been.
podcast.
It's
but
up.
If you are a fan of Ryan Johansson, you're going to want to listen to that with Max Hers, Kara Hammer, Brooks Bratton. Great interview. They came out raving about that. I haven't listened to it yet, but you're right. Such a personable guy, likable guy, and a really, really good player on the best Predator teams of all time. And let me say one more thing in closing of this, where they are.
Sure.
Because Derek, we had fun giving it to Adam about, well, just
Yes.
go in there and tell them we're going to load manage if we lose a couple of games. And look,
Maybe UC Saros is load managing right now. I don't know. I'm kidding, of course.
and of course, if they lose a couple of games, you're going to think the world's ending. And there they go. But this is where the house money comes in. This is where it's a no-lose situation in my mind, because of the unique imbalance between the East and the West. If you make the playoffs, you get to put these young guys out there, and the old pros running around. You get to take your shot. You'll be a big underdog. It'll be Rocky Balboa. Take your shot, but you're in the playoffs. If you miss, you're going to end up being 25th, 26th, 27th in the standings overall. You'll have a decent amount of ping pong balls to end up with a top 5 or 6 pick. So to me, it's a no-lose situation.
The Predators back in action tomorrow against Vegas. Puck drop at 1, pregame at noon, right here on 102.5 The Game. 615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on the Predators. Coming up next, we'll get back into the NCAA tournament. Our favorite moments so far in this tournament. We will discuss those coming up next. 615-737-1025. Tennessee leads Miami 23-17. About the midway point of the first half. 615-737-1025. Vanderbilt baseball takes on Mississippi State tonight. First pitch is at 7. Coverage of all the action here on 102.5 The Game is presented by Gary Force Acura.
Hey, this is Derek Mason. If you've injured yourself in a motorcycle accident, go to lawtigers.com for your free case evaluation. Even if your accident was months ago, you have nothing to lose by calling Law Tigers. Insurance companies want to pay out as little as possible, or frankly, nothing at all. But Law Tigers fights to get you the compensation you deserve and doesn't get paid until your case has been settled. They understand how much your bike gears is worth to you, so they will help you get it all repaired or better yet replaced. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or visit lawtigers.com. Law Tigers is powered by Friedman and Houston, and you can find them in Nashville, located at 2126 21st Street South. And don't forget, go to predatorsbike.com to enter to win a custom Nashville Predator Indian motorcycle signed by the entire team. Hey, listen, I've seen that thing. It is slick. And it's courtesy of Law Tigers in Music City, Indiana. That's Law Tigers, Tennessee's motorcycle lawyers.
D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Derek Mason, Willie Donick, Adam Vingan, David Janes here with you. We are live at Boomba's in East Nashville until 6 o'clock. March is here, and Boomba's is your headquarters for every buzzer beater, upset, and Cinderella story. With every game on their big screens, ice-cold drinks, and the best pizza in town you won't want to watch anywhere else. Grab your crew, claim your spot, and enjoy the excitement. Locations here in East Nashville, as well as in Murfreesboro and Spring Hill. So head over to Boomba's to watch the NCAA tournament. It's the top of the hour, so Willie Donick, he's ready for a score update. Please do the honors.
All right, let's hit you with what's going on in the NCAA tournament. Time winding down for Tennessee State. They are trailing Iowa State 91-58. Just a poor start for the Tigers, and really they never look back. And Iowa State had a tricky injury. We don't know the status, but one of their better players went down with an ankle injury early in the game, but it hasn't mattered. Iowa State has just been taking the game to Tennessee State. That one is the under 8 timeout. Alabama trying to hang on against Hofstra. Hofstra has been pushing them throughout, but Alabama now has an 8-point lead with 8:01 left in the second half, 67-59. So Hofstra was providing a scare. Maybe they got one more run. We'll see. Utah State leads Villanova in the 8-9 game. That's late in the first half. And the winner of that game plays Michigan. So other scores, Tennessee has pulled out to a 31-17 lead against Miami of Ohio. It was close in the early minutes. Tennessee has been making shots, which is huge for them. I knew they were going to guard Miami of Ohio 10 times better than SMU did. That was a terrible defensive game plan by the Mustangs. Tennessee, different animal. Miami not getting anywhere close to the same looks.
By the way, Tennessee up 14 with 0 points from Nate Ament.
I still wonder if he's feeling the effects.
Jacoby Gillespie has 13 points for Tennessee. 0 points for Ament, yet Tennessee up by 14.
Wow, that's a good sign for the Vols, who sometimes can struggle to score. Earlier today, Arizona easy over the 16th seed LIU.
In the battle of iced tea.
The battle of who's got the better iced tea. One of the best tweets going. So Arizona iced tea over Long Island iced tea in this case. Virginia got a scare from Wright State, the 14 seed, but won 82-73. Texas Tech, surprisingly easy against the Akron Zips, who are a trendy 12 pick that I bid on. I had the Zips going to the Sweet 16. I'm not bitter about it. Yes, I am. Texas Tech won 91-71. And the game of the day, Kentucky, 89, Santa Clara 84 in overtime. The final minute of regulation was vintage March Madness, with Kentucky hit 2 game-tying shots. One with about 30 seconds left. Santa Clara came back and hit a 3 with 2.2 seconds to go, or 2.4. Herb Sendek wanted to call a timeout to set up his defense. The refs didn't see him. Kentucky inbounds the ball. Otega Owe, who had 35 points, hit a prayer from just inside the half-court line off the backboard to tie it up, and then Kentucky took it in overtime by 5. So Kentucky edges Santa Clara 89-84.
That shouldn't count if he doesn't call bank, right? Call bank.
Those are
I don't know if that's the rule in the NCAA tournament, but a crazy.
Has anybody ever enforced that rule? Everybody says that.
Yes.
When somebody
On
hits
the
it. Hey, you
playground?
gotta call that.
You gotta call bank,
that.
man.
But does anybody actually take the basket off? The best is when you hit the straight on
counts
bank,
all the
right?
same.
Straight away 3. It's a straight, because nobody banks it from straight on. Come on,
Yeah.
nobody's trying to do that.
It counts all the same, whether you bank it in or not. So Kentucky survives against Santa Clara. So let's talk about some of our favorite moments from this tournament so far. I'll start.
Yes.
High Point defeating Wisconsin 83-82. Chase Johnston, I believe is his name, scored the game-winning bucket, a fast break layup. His first made 2-point basket all season. He had attempted 4 shots within the arc. He's a 3-point specialist. He hits his first 2-point basket to send High Point to the round of 32. Wisconsin, by the way, whenever Wisconsin is a 5 seed, the Badgers always lose. I don't know what it is. I believe Mark Byington's JMU team was a 12 seed, defeated Wisconsin a couple of years ago. So something about Wisconsin and being a 5 seed, it never works out for the Badgers. But David James, if you'll load this up, I want to play. I want to play High Point Radio, student radio's call of some of the big moments in that game. This is Jimmy Rosselli and Griffin Wright, and this speaks to just how much these games mean, not just to the fans, but especially the students. Here was High Point Radio's mashup of the best calls from that game.
To Anderson, driving, step back. In circles now, Johnson, catch and shoot.
Timeout. Portland, do you believe it? Here comes Johnson. The layup.
Takes it inbounds. 9 seconds. Boyd wants it inside. Try. 6 seconds. Block. That Boyd, they launch down court. And Anderson gets it. Throw on the glass slipper. It's a Cinderella story in Portland, Oregon. For the first time in program history, High Point breaks through. We will see you in the round of 32. Oh, what a
The best part.
I love that last part was great.
The best part is the visual.
The visual.
The
was great.
visual. These
They had the
students
self-cam on.
were losing their ever-loving minds, and that's what makes this time of the year so great. Willie, outside of Vanderbilt's win, what was your favorite moment of the tournament so far?
Wow, it's hard to top that. That was really good stuff there.
The next Willie Donick's right there.
You just have to love the enthusiasm of those guys.
Yes.
And he threw a little Gus Johnson in there. I thought, there's little ingredients that you're trying to pick up.
It was Gus Johnson-esque,
Yes.
now that I think about it.
And it just shows you the passion. I just love the fans. I have to say, and I was surprised that you told me that Vanderbilt is a slight favorite against
2.5
Nebraska
points
tomorrow.
against Nebraska
But
tomorrow.
I think that might be my next favorite because High Point's the easy one, but the fans for Nebraska. Like Kevin Ingram, Vanderbilt's play-by-play announcer, will be on the call tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, thank you, NCAA. Great scheduling. We fly to Chicago tomorrow night after the Predators
You'll
play
be
Vegas.
there right on time.
Yeah, right on time. 7:45.
The line, by the way, has moved since I last told you.
They were
It's
thinking
now
about you,
Vanderbilt
Willie.
minus 1.5.
But the fans. So Kevin Ingram, Nebraska is staying at the same hotel as Vanderbilt. He said those Cornhusker fans were there at 10 a.m. drinking a particular kind of beer.
Rex Road said that there were Cornhusker fans tailgating while he was on the show yesterday.
Wow.
And that's at 7 a.m., by the way.
So apparently the beer of choice is, I want to make sure I get this right, and this was verified by other people that follow the Nebraska fans because they've carried this over. Busch Lights.
Okay.
Busch Lights.
That's
10,
the
10
least
a.m.
surprising thing.
Is it Busch Light? Is it Busch Light?
Busch Light.
Oh,
Yes.
Busch Light. Okay, Busch Light.
Yes.
But
Never
I just
had a
thought the
Busch.
fan. The
Classy beer.
And
Okay.
I guess I will throw in the Miami of Ohio fans, the guys in the Speedos, the swim team, the actual swim team coming down to distract the free throw shooter. To me, the fans are what makes this whole thing. That's why you always like when a building gets hopping, right? The right buildings where you get the right teams in there, and you have a true neutral crowd, but everybody's got their group in there. It will not be neutral tomorrow in Oklahoma City because Nebraska has just brought the whole state over there.
Of
For
course.
obvious reasons. This is a special thing for their team.
Derek, outside of Michigan State's win yesterday, what was your favorite moment of the tournament so far?
My favorite moment was watching the Vanderbilt game and the Nebraska fans cheering.
They were
for
not cheering
McNeese.
for Vanderbilt. They were
they
not
were cheering for
Vanderbilt. Yeah.
McNeese, and the announcers that were calling the game, they were just they had fun with it. They were saying, "Hey, we clearly know who's not for Vanderbilt." So obviously, Nebraska fans wanted McNeese to win because they felt they had better opportunity if McNeese State won, but they didn't. And then also, man, That is two teams that I'm really intrigued by. One is Arkansas. I think Arkansas may hand, like, if you're talking about from talent to talent, man to man, they may be the best team in college football basketball. If not the best team, talent for talent, they are in the top 3 or 4.
Darius Acuff, 24
Yes.
points yesterday.
And I know, listen,
All
I know
five
the
starters
opponent,
in double figures.
It was men against boys.
exactly. I know the opponent was inferior. I get that.
Sorry, Hawaii.
But you watching them play against Vanderbilt and watching them throughout the season, and that's why one of those questions, that we ask, who can be the most dangerous team out of the SEC in this tournament. And if you look at this, you look at Arkansas and what they're able to do, they have everything that you need, and Acuff may just as well be the best player in college basketball right now. They have what it takes. Again, can Coach Cal get them over the hump? He always has talent. And then Texas, that's another team, big team. They shot well yesterday. DeBasta did everything he could for BYU to help them. What do you have? Almost 40 points?
35 points for
35 points.
AJ DeBonsa yesterday
but
for BYU.
I think Texas did a really good job at offensive rebounding. They're a big team. And if they can continue to shoot well from the outside, that's another team that can pose a problem for whoever they face moving forward.
Texas takes on Gonzaga
Yeah.
tomorrow.
And I watched some of Gonzaga's game last night after the Predators game. Kennesaw hung with them for a while. They were in it. I wasn't like Gonzaga's in it every year, so you're thinking, how does this Gonzaga team compare
Different from
to
the
all
others.
of the other ones?
Right.
Not a huge standout team. I don't think they have the one guy that just really
It's
grabs
not like
you.
the old
They've got Graham
guys.
Ike. He's the only one.
Yeah, and they got the freshman Fogel, Davis Fogel, who two last names. He's pretty good, but I don't know if it's the best Gonzaga team, even though there are 3 seeds. So I feel like they're gettable.
You know what my favorite moment was?
Oh yeah,
Other than
saved it for you.
Duke surviving. North Carolina blowing a 19-point second-half lead to VCU, which won in overtime. And you guys have played basketball. You know it's a cardinal sin to intentionally miss a free throw without hitting the rim. And that's what Carolina did in overtime. That basically spelled the end for the Tar Heels. And I saw this post that was going viral yesterday. I can't remember exactly what it said off the top of my head, so I'm paraphrasing here. Because Duke and North Carolina were both in Greenville, South Carolina, for the start of the tournament. And whoever wrote this post was like, Duke fans and Carolina fans, they're trying to root each other on. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, when VCU hit the 3 to put them ahead in overtime, like, I jumped as high as I have probably ever jumped, because it brings me as much pleasure to watch Carolina lose as to watch Duke win. So there's a lot of chatter about Hubert Davis and what's going to happen with him. I say the Tar Heels should hold on to Hubert Davis because it's clearly going well. But, of course, that was my favorite moment. And I have a soft spot for VCU, the pride of Richmond, Virginia. So
I got my 2 points.
you did get your 2.5 points. You picked VCU to upset
Yes.
North Carolina. Sean on our text line says, why you got to call it Bush by its Christian name and not its actual name, the Beast and Beast Light?
I do know that lingo. That is a true statement.
It is
the Beast Light.
regarded as the beast.
Yeah. Well, I always thought that Milwaukee's best was also the Beast, too.
Yeah. I'm not a big beer drinker. So
Why do they call it the beast? I'm not a big drinker.
I think the reason, at least back in the day, it's the cheapest beer you can find. Right? I mean, you can get a lot of it for not a lot of money, and for the college budget, that usually
PBR as well.
That was like a brick. That was like a brick for me. With Mad Dog 2020, we call it
a lot of
brick
hipsters enjoy PBR on this side of town in East Nashville.
Yeah, they work the PBR on the east side.
Oh my God! Is that Jacoby
that a
Gillespie
staple?
again?
He is ripping it.
He is ripping it. Tennessee up 41-23 on Miami, Ohio. Jacoby Gillespie, 19 points. Ament, still 0 points for the Vols.
I haven't even seen him with the ball. I don't even know if he's playing that much. How many minutes does he have?
He has played 13 minutes.
Okay, so he's been in there some. I just haven't noticed him. I have Tennessee going to the Sweet 16. I like their draw.
It would be something if this was the Tennessee team that went far in the tournament. This is by far, well, maybe not by far. This is not the most talented squad that Rick Barnes has had at Tennessee.
No.
Although Nate Ament, probably the best pro prospect he's had.
Yeah.
At least in recent memory.
Well, he had
Grant
Connect.
Williams. He had Dalton Connect.
But I'm saying
He had
pro
Grant
prospect.
Williams, right?
Ament is probably the best pro prospect.
How is Connect
as far as
in the NBA?
high? How
Is
high?
he still with the Lakers? Connect?
I
He
thought
got.
he was-
yes,
I thought they traded him,
But then the trade
they
got
brought him back.
canceled.
Yeah.
The trade got canceled or something like that. If Tennessee holds on, the Vols will take on Virginia on Sunday. That would be an intriguing matchup. 615-737-1025. Your favorite moment so far from the NCAA tournament. Iowa State wrapping up a tidy win against TSU, 108-74 with 30 seconds left. A tough end to the season for TSU, but Nolan Smith and the Tigers have a lot to be proud of. Iowa State about to move on. Tennessee up 41-23 against Miami, Ohio. Alabama up 79-66 against Hofstra. So those are your score updates, 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll continue the conversation, and we'll discuss whether something we even discussed earlier this week was overblown. We'll do that next, 615-737-1025. A reminder to come play hooky with us. Work's almost over, but leave about 40 minutes early and come hang out with us at Boomba's in East Nashville. All the games on the screens, and our coverage of the tournament is presented by Toyota, Let's Go Places, Nelson's Greenbrier Distillery, Maple Street Biscuit Company, Thompson Machinery, and Pizzona MD. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you live at Boomba's in East Nashville, 1003 Russell Street. Come chill with us. Watch the NCAA tournament games. A beautiful day for basketball. Jacoby Gillespie, 22 points for the Vols in the first half. They are rolling against Miami, Ohio, 51-32 at halftime. They are up 19 points despite Nate Ament having 0 points in the first half. That is a great sign for the Vols. If the Vols take care of business, they will take on the Virginia Cavaliers in a 3-6 matchup on Sunday in the Midwest region. Alabama defeated Hofstra 90-70. That game just went final. The Crimson Tide move on as well. The only SEC team off the top of my head, gentlemen, that has lost so far is Georgia, right?
Yes.
And Georgia got crushed. Absolutely crushed by St. Louis, starring Robbie Avila, a.k.a. Larry Nerd, a.k.a. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Remember, he played for Indiana State, transferred to St. Louis.
He's got to love that guy.
Yes. There was a great story on the broadcast. Apparently, Avila's brother in high school attempted to talk him into wearing contacts, and Avila was like, or actually it was Avila who wanted to switch to contacts. And his brother said, "You can't do that. You can't get rid of the rec specs." So St. Louis taking on Michigan tomorrow. That could be a really interesting matchup. But
I would love to see pictures of him when he was like 13, probably taller than most of the guys, kind of maybe a little awkward, growing into his big body. He probably got teased, but then all of a sudden he started balling. People were like, whoa, we want this guy on our team.
I just saw the score on Derek Mason's screen. St. Louis beat Georgia 102-77.
There's been how many teams have hit 100
down?
4 or 5?
Iowa State just hit 100, right, against TSU. Let's see here. Iowa State hit 108. Yesterday, there were multiple.
Yes.
Michigan hit 101 against Howard. Illinois hit 105 against Penn. And St. Louis hit 102 against Georgia. A lot of 100-point games.
Yeah.
A lot of 100-point games in the tournament. One texter says on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com, one of the best moments of the tourney so far was Siena running their starters the entire game versus Duke. Those guys left it all out there, literally. I mean, I didn't enjoy it, but I'm glad. Like the impending sense of dread that I had in the second half of that game. I'm like, this is going to be so embarrassing. Everybody's going to dunk on me, and I can't go on social media for a week, and I can't show my face anywhere. And my daughter was wearing a Duke onesie. I was going to throw it in the trash. But crisis averted so far. But look, in hindsight, now that it's over and it worked out for me, it was a great story. That's why people love March Madness. And I wanted to touch on something that we touched on earlier in the week. There was this sense that this new era of NIL and unlimited transfers, right, had crushed the Cinderella. That the gap between the haves and the have-nots it was widening to an extreme degree, that there weren't going to be as many upsets as there have been in the past. But Siena gave Duke everything it had. VCU beats North Carolina. There were, mid-major teams giving big-name teams some games today. Hofstra gave Alabama a game this afternoon. So perhaps the demise, Willie and Derek, of the Cinderella was greatly exaggerated.
Well, I mean, listen, when a massive change happens like NIL and you start seeing these guys transfer from school to school and how the upper echelon teams are sort of poaching these lower mid-major schools, then one would tend to assume, okay, especially now with the money that's being given to these athletes, it's like, oh, the margin has widened. But I keep on telling people, you forget basketball is different from any other sport. It's just a different sport. You may not have the Jimmies and the Joes like throughout the season. You may win your conference, but still it may seem that it may seem like talent for talent, you can't compete with, the teams that are in. But the only thing you need to do is have one good shooting day. That is it. That's the difference between basketball. Everybody gets an opportunity to shoot the basket. When one team make it, you can come down and try to make it yourself. You don't have to wait 6 plays, and you don't have like football or some of these other sports. It's real. That's what makes this so like March Madness such a sort of people just marvel at it and enjoy it because again, basketball is it's not like any other sport. You can go on the playground right now, you can pick 5 guys and you can forget 5 other guys. And you may think that team is going to win. You can get 5 me and Willies and we can go play a good high school team. If those guys are not shooting well and Willie is firing it up from the outside, we going to win.
It's a shot-making game.
Exactly.
There's no goalie.
Absolutely. No goalies.
The two of you are using your old man moves that you talked about with AK Okereke the other day.
I've been scribbling some things down with AK. He's teaching me a few. I might make a comeback with some of the moves he's got in there.
Yeah, but it's just basketball, and then
and the 3-point shot,
the
right?
3-point shot. The crowd. You bring the atmosphere sort of changes. Some big teams sort of wilt.
No doubt.
Under that type of circumstance.
Like we were talking about in the first hour where the McNeese fans or the Nebraska fans jumped on the McNeese bandwagon. So when the underdog is playing well, they get off to a good start. They get their confidence going. Then the crowd gets behind them. It creates a dynamic that's unique, and it's a one-game deal. If you lay an egg for one game,
that's
you're
all it
done.
takes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it only take one half. If you dig yourself a big enough hole in one half, look at what North Carolina built themselves a 19-point lead, but didn't play the second half. And what happened? They end up losing.
Some interesting games in the nightcap tonight, starting with Iowa versus Clemson, Northern Iowa against St. John's, UCF versus UCLA, Queens versus Purdue, Prairie View A&M versus Florida, Cal Baptist versus Kansas, Furman versus UConn, Missouri versus Miami. And as we were talking about, the SEC arrived in the tournament last year as the clear number 1 conference in the tournament. 14 schools, right? It wasn't as strong as a conference this year, but Tennessee showing out against Miami. Vanderbilt moves on. Texas has already won 2 games in this tournament because they were in the first 4. The SEC representing well so far.
I think at this point, have they lost the game?
Georgia.
Georgia's the sole loss on their resume. But again, we talked about the SEC throughout the year. They're not as strong as they were last year, like at the top of the conference, but this year is more of a balanced conference. I think everybody in that conference, once they got into the tournament, you start to see, them go out and it's hard to see when you're playing in the SEC because you see this stuff every day, the hard-nosed type of basketball, and it's nobody separating themselves other than, possibly Florida toward the end, but you see every team has talent. That's why I say going in is like Arkansas is that team that's sort of, man, if they can get on the run, these guys can shoot well. They're hard out. Kentucky, they're hard out. Even though they can be up and down, they're still a hard out. You see what Texas did last night. Alabama, what they're doing. This team, Tennessee, seems like they're going to win. Vandy, what they were able to do. It's not like, oh, this is the team that's going to win. When you face the SEC this year so spread out, you don't know what you're going to get. And a lot of times, especially in tournaments like this, you tend to get the better.
Here are a couple things that I'm looking for tonight, Adam. How many times will Danny Hurley lose his mind to the officials, even though it's a 2 versus 15? I still think it's a good bet. Danny Hurley, every game, is wearing those officials out from start to finish.
Not to look ahead, but we could have an all-time ornery coach-off in the second round if UConn advances to take on Mick Cronin at UCLA.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
We need to ring the bell for ornery.
Ornery.
Good use of vocabulary.
Yes.
And the other one I'm looking at, the late-night sports bar game, is the one, Miami, Missouri.
Yes.
I think that has a chance to be really good. It's a 7 versus 10. Missouri,
high scoring.
Missouri has a knack for playing crazy, wild games that come down to the end. I think that's got a chance to be one that has some madness in the final minutes.
And you look at Missouri.
That's another
this is
team.
Another
Yeah.
team. They've beaten powerhouses within the SEC, and then they've lost some
Yep.
games that you look at. It's like, man, what team is this? So they're a team also that once they start shooting well from outside Missouri, it's hard to defend them.
A quick score update. Tennessee still leads Miami, Ohio 51-32 at halftime. Villanova up on Utah State 50-42. The winner of that game, I believe, faces Arizona in the round of 32. Games that have gone final. Arizona defeats Long Island 92-58. Iowa State defeats PSU 108-74. Virginia over Wright State 82-73. Alabama over Hofstra 90-70. Texas Tech over Akron 91-71. Kentucky 89. Santa Clara 84 in overtime. And what was the game of the day, the first game of the day, it has yet to be topped.
I'm curious about, just because Kentucky fans are so maniacal.
Yes, that's one word for it.
Had they lost that game,
Ooh.
I wonder what the discussion would have been about Mark Pope, who is a really likable guy, who was a great player at Kentucky. Like, he should be a guy that could rally the fans, but the fans are so irrational sometimes that I wonder what would have happened. Like, he earned another game, and so now at least, if you lose to the 2 seed,
they play Iowa State. I believe.
And Iowa State just, I don't know the status of the guy. Is it Jefferson? Josh Jefferson?
I believe that's his name.
Maybe they catch
Josh Jefferson. Yep.
They catch a break there. You get to play them without him. I don't know. But even if they lose to them, is there a buy-in at some point?
I mean, had he lost this game, it would have been even worse because why? Arkansas won.
Arkansas won.
And had they lost, oh my good, and they won the SEC championship.
And you lose to Santa Clara. And
Exactly.
as good as Santa Clara is,
It hasn't been in the tournament for 30 years.
People don't understand that that's a good team. That's a 10 seed. They didn't lose to the 15 seed. But Santa Clara is like, Santa Clara? Who the heck is Santa Clara? Kentucky doesn't lose to Santa Clara, right?
They didn't.
It was like a 2-point spread, right? So, but that wouldn't have been viewed that way for the Kentucky fans.
615-737-1025. Vanderbilt takes on Nebraska tomorrow. The Commodores wrapping up practice in OKC. We don't know yet who our guest is going to be. It could be Kyler Tanner. It could be Devin McLaughlin. We'll all find out together. One of them is supposed to join us coming up next. 615-737-1025. We will get back into Vanderbilt's matchup. The Commodores won against McNeese yesterday. They take on Nebraska tomorrow. 615-737-1025. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home with the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service.
Hey, this is Derek Mason. If you've injured yourself in a motorcycle accident, go to lawtigers.com for your free case evaluation. Even if your accident was months ago, you have nothing to lose by calling Law Tigers. Insurance companies want to pay out as little as possible, or frankly, nothing at all. But Law Tigers fights to get you the compensation you deserve and doesn't get paid until your case has been settled. They understand how much your bike gear is worth to you, so they will help you get it all repaired, or better yet, replace it. Call 1-800-LAW Tigers or visit lawtigers.com. Law Tigers is powered by Friedman and Fuson, and you can find them in Nashville, located at 2126 21st Street South. And also, don't forget, go to predatorsbike.com to enter to win the custom Nashville Predator Indian motorcycle signed by who? The entire team, courtesy of Law Tigers in Music City, Indian. That's Law Tigers, Tennessee's motorcycle lawyers.
D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. Awaiting our player guest from Vanderbilt men's basketball. And that mystery player will join us as soon as he can. It could be Tyler Tanner. It could be Devin McLaughlin.
Hey, you never know.
It could be somebody else.
Can't go wrong.
How should I feel? I just ate a really good pizza from Boombox.
Boombas.
Yes. Jalapenos, Italian sausage, 8-inch, fabulous. But I want another one. Should I
Tis
feel
the
bad about
season,
that?
Derek Mason.
I say go for it. It's March Madness.
Tis the season.
Anything goes.
Well,
I
I
count
think
calories during March Madness season.
I do.
Okay.
I do think, Derek, that you need
Yes.
to have another pizza because of what happened to you the other day when you ordered
Oh, yeah.
pizza you
Yeah.
did not get.
I did not get that pizza.
So I think you should eat the pizza that you should have eaten a few days ago. So I say go for it.
But this pizza is definitely better than the pizza that I tried to order or attempted to order or did order but didn't receive it.
I say go for it.
All right, I'm going to go for me another 8-inch here at Boom Boss. Italian sausage with jalapenos. One of the best pizzas that they make, at least I believe. So all the pizzas good, though.
All right, let's go to our phone line, driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com, and welcome in Vanderbilt's Tyler Tanner. Tyler Tanner coming off of a 26-point game in Vanderbilt's 78-68 win against McNeese on Thursday. Tyler, thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. So a big win for you and your team yesterday. Let's go to the beginning of the game. McNeese asserted itself early in the game yesterday, but you and your teammates punched back and took over. What was the key to withstanding that early onslaught from McNeese?
Yeah, we need to have more energy as a group. They came ready to play from the jump. They seemed like they wanted it more than us those first 4 minutes at least. And we realized that very quickly we needed to get that energy back and have some intensity out there if we wanted to win that game.
I heard your coach, Mark Byington, say after the game yesterday that he's expecting a road game mentality tomorrow against Nebraska. For those of us who were not in the building yesterday, just describe the Nebraska fan contingent and what you're going up against tomorrow, as well as the team on the court, obviously.
Yeah, they have a lot of fans that traveled here. I heard that this was their first NCAA tournament win, so
yes,
there's a lot of buzz for Nebraska basketball, and it was a lot of red in the arena last night and yesterday. So it's definitely going to be pretty much a road game for us, but we've been battle tested on the road this year, so we'll be good.
Now, Tyler, how have you guys been able to keep all of this in perspective? You had a really good regular season. You make it to the SEC final game. That game goes down the wire. You come out and you play a little sluggish, but then you pick it up in the second half. Well, right during the first half into the second half. But how have you guys been able to keep everything in perspective?
Yeah, I mean, we just need to continue to play together. When we do that, everything else works itself out. But like I said, we played some really good teams as of recent, and I think we're close to playing our best basketball in the year. So it's a good time for this right now.
Now, do you see this game that you guys just played versus McNeese State? Because I'm watching it, and it's sort of reminiscent to when you guys played Memphis, where it was up and down. They were aggressive, and then you guys kind of settled in. Was that sort of did that game, you believe, help y'all, allow y'all to settle down in this one?
For sure. I think there was a lot of games this year that we may not have started perfectly well, but we knew we wanted to win that game. We had to win that game. So we just had to continue stepping on the gas, and it ended up working in our favor.
Tyler Tanner is with us, Vanderbilt basketball point guard. They've got Nebraska tomorrow in the second round. Tyler, let's talk about just a quick turnaround. You guys got this experience in the SEC tournament where you have to go back through the scout, but you're playing an opponent that's very different. You haven't seen them so far this year. So how important is getting together and really focusing in on the scouting report and things like that with such a quick turnaround, especially the way Nebraska plays?
Yeah, we've been really locked in on the scout so far, and we're going to continue to do that tonight. and tomorrow as we lead into the game. And we have been, like I said, we've been put in situations like this all year, whether it was at the Bahamas or SEC tournament, whatever it is, these quick turnarounds. So we're used to doing it, and we're going to attack it.
How do you feel physically? That's always something you probably don't even think about it. People from afar say, well, do you get tired playing all these games in a row? But are you guys just pumped on adrenaline right now?
I think we are. We do a lot of treatment and stuff, mobility to make sure that we feel good. That's been part of our focus today. Coach didn't kill us on the court, and just to get our bodies right for tomorrow. And we've done it so many times that we know how to make our bodies feel good and how to feel at our best. So that's what we're going to do.
Nebraska plays so different than McNeese. In fact, I would put them on opposite ends of the spectrum, just from my view. Nebraska, it looks like the key is going to be the three-point line on both ends. They love to shoot them, and they're really good at defending the three. So what are some things you guys are emphasizing?
Yeah, there's a lot. I agree that they are a very different team from McNeese. But we've played a lot of different schemes this year and a lot of strengths that different teams have. But we do have to limit those threes that you talk about. Really good shooter that we're going to be going against, so we have to try to limit. But at the end of the day, we just have to play our brand of basketball, play how we have been, and stick together.
It looks like since Duke Miles has come back, it took a couple of games, but it looks like you and he have really good chemistry now. Both of you guys can make it happen with the ball or off the ball. But what has that been like for you as you've watched him work his way back up to his A game?
Yeah, he's been great for us. Even those games when he was easing back into it, he still helped us in so many ways. And I love playing with him. He makes my job a lot easier when I'm out on the court, and he makes a lot of our jobs easier. So he picks up a lot of slack if any of us have mistakes in a play. If he has some ball pressure or affects the ball in a certain way, it covers up those mistakes. So he does so many things for us, and we're so thankful to have him back.
It's how nice is it too to have Tyler Nickel back shooting the ball confidently, like we've watched all season long. He had a little mini slump there. How did you guys try to pick him up when he was trying to get back to playing the way he was capable?
I tell him pretty much every day that he's the best three-point shooter in the country. And it was just a matter of time before he got back in that groove. People are guarding him a certain way because he's such a good shooter that he's bound to have games like that. But I know he's confident now. He has been confident the whole time. It was never a question if he was confident. So, yeah, it's great to have him back playing his high-level basketball that he has been all year.
Chandler Big is starting to get better and better every week. It seems like he's playing a big role for you. But has he gotten the big head at all, Tyler, after that dunk where the bolts came off of the rim?
He hasn't got a big head, luckily.
Okay, good.
He's a very level-headed kid, and he works so hard and he's so humble. So the success that y'all see on the court is only a testament of the person he is and how hard he works. And I'm so proud of him for sticking with it. Even in games when he didn't play as much as he thought he should, he always kept a level head and just continued to work.
Finally, I know this is a business trip, right? You guys are there to win, but I don't know if had you ever been to Oklahoma City before? What's the most interesting thing about your surroundings there?
It feels really good here. It's like 90 degrees or something now.
Wow.
It was crazy because coming from Nashville, it was like 30 earlier this week. So it was kind of a change of temperature for us for sure. But I haven't got to leave the hotel very much just because we've been so locked in here. But I don't think I've been here before either. So hopefully after we get this win tomorrow, maybe we'll be able to look around a little bit.
Well, we can assure you that the temperature in Nashville is much warmer than it was when you left. It's in the 80s today, so we're doing well over here. Vanderbilt guard Tyler Tanner has been our guest on D-Mace. Vin Gnadonic, the Commodores, are back in action tomorrow against Nebraska, a 7:45 p.m. Central tip-off in OKC. Tyler, thank you so much for your time, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good one.
You too. 615-737-1025. One texter says, I taught Tyler Tanner in 7th grade pre-algebra.
Oh, wow.
I love when people reach out like that.
Yes.
You know, that's the best thing. The local kid, you know, he grew up here. I love when people are like,
Okay.
I know him. I met him.
Here's one for you, because I hear it all the time now. We need to have an over under this week going into this weekend. How many times will they refer Tyler Tanner and Brentwood High School being 6 miles from each other and him going to school? They mentioned that at least 3 or 4 times each
Brentwood
time.
Academy.
In the first half.
Brentwood Academy.
Brentwood Academy.
Yeah.
Brentwood Academy. Yes. Shout out to Brentwood Academy. Yeah.
Yes.
Here were some other things going on my text chain amongst all the Vanderbilt fans. But by the way, we did have some good Vanderbilt synergy because I went over to the arena early. Predators had a big game last night against the Kraken. You got it. Wow. Nice.
A bit of a Freudian slip there for Willie Donick.
Little blooper. Good thing we're not playing the Kraken again. That's going to make the rounds.
Yikes.
But we had all the Commodores in Michelle Kennedy's office, and it was Commodores only allowed. So we had Greg Harvey, our statistician, class of 95, I think, Max Hurst, myself, Michelle. And I don't want to out Michelle, but Michelle had a meeting. She had to leave the game to go do the meeting. She was like, "Why did I schedule this meeting? The doors are planned." But we're like, "We got you, Michelle. They'll be all right." But it's so much fun when you do this. But people that were Vanderbilt fans were texting, going, "Tyler Tanner, I forgot to ask him about this. He cut his hair. He got a haircut, and he was playing so well. You're like, you don't cut your hair. Like when they were losing early, like you can't cut your hair after you're playing so well. What are you doing? And everything's okay. He ended up with 24 points. The haircut.
He cut his hair?
Good. It's all good. He had a haircut. I don't know if he cut it, but you notice it was a little shorter yesterday.
I wasn't even paying attention.
He's been a great story. I mean, he's really come out of nowhere nationwide. He's one of the best players, I think, in the tournament. And you saw it yesterday. A big part of Vanderbilt's win. 26 points for the Commodores yesterday. We'll see if he can do that again tomorrow against Nebraska. 615-737-1025. We will preview that matchup coming up next. Vanderbilt versus Nebraska, 7:45 p.m. tomorrow. A game you can hear right here on 1025 The Game. 615-737-1025. Come out and join us at Boom Baz in East Nashville. 1003 Russell Street. Beautiful day for basketball. Great specials here as well. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. We are live at Boomba's in East Nashville at 1003 Russell Street in 5 Points. Come chill with us. Watch the NCAA tournament games. Boomba's also has some excellent specials as well, including game day wings and fries for $10, $10 domestic and select local draft pitchers, and $20 domestic and $25 import tall boy buckets. Arlo Vingan has arrived on the scene.
I have not seen Arlo. He went
right to the playground.
I'm not surprised.
He went right to the playground.
Out.
1 month old today, Eliza Vingan, also in the house.
I got to meet Eliza for the first time. That was big time.
Yes.
And she had the Duke shirt on.
She sure did.
We got to get her a Vanderbilt shirt. Vanderbilt onesie.
I will say this. I did stop by.
Would she rock the Vanderbilt onesie?
Well, she was born at Vanderbilt.
Okay,
so
here we go.
I'll allow it.
All right.
I'll allow it. I did stop by the Vanderbilt bookstore today because I was in the area, and I looked at some of the children's clothes. I don't think she's big enough for them yet, but I will not be opposed.
Hey, you can always get it now. She can wear it later. She'll grow into it.
That is true, and I subjected my 1 month old daughter to the worst of me yesterday as I watched Duke almost lose to Siena. But hey, you have to indoctrinate them early.
Yep.
That's what my dad did to me, and that's what I'm doing. I'm foisting it on my children. They both wore Duke shirts yesterday, and fortunately, Duke survived for at least another day. Tennessee up 60-36 on the 32-1 Miami, Ohio Redhawks. Jacoby Gillespie, 25 points for the Vols. Nate Ament, 0 points
How many
for
shots
the
has he
Vols.
taken?
He has taken 3 shots in this game, according to the box score.
There still has to be something
I'm wondering-
physically that is still not there.
You tell me. Did you expect him to play as much as he did in the SEC
No,
tournament?
I did not. In fact, and I think Adam, you weren't on the show the day before they played, but I was speculating that it might be best for them to hold him out of that tournament. But he had the great game against Auburn, and then I thought Vanderbilt did a very good job on him. But you could tell that he was really laboring, fighting. It wasn't coming easy for him in that game. And
I haven't really noticed him on the court in this game from what I've been seeing.
He has been a non-factor, really. And Gillespie has picked up the slack, and the rest of the team is playing fantastic basketball.
Well, they had needed him today, so
Yes.
give him a rest.
Yeah.
Gillespie, part of my favorite nicknamed starting lineup last year for the Maryland Terrapins, the Crab Five. Jacoby Gillespie, part of the Crab Five.
Did any of the Crab Five come back to Maryland?
No, I don't believe any of the Crab Five.
I mean, you got a
came back
nickname
to
like that,
Maryland.
you got
You
T-shirts,
gotta
and
stay.
they all left.
You have to stay.
on.
Like, man.
Oh, man. Tennessee 60, Miami 36. Villanova leads Utah State 70-67. 7 minutes remaining in the second half. All of the rest of the games so far have gone final. The first game of the day, the best game of the day, Kentucky defeats Santa Clara 89-84 in overtime. Texas Tech beats Akron. Arizona beats Long Island. UVA beats Wright State. Iowa State crushes, unfortunately, TSU. Alabama beats Hofstra. So all chalk so far today.
Man, Tennessee's been having a lob fest, man. It's been Lob City
Well, at this
With
point,
UT. Over Miami of Ohio.
the game's probably out of reach. You want to, show up a little bit. You can show off a
But
little
this
bit.
was during the game, too. This was like actually when, they were building their league. So,
But
who was the old Lob City?
That was Florida Gulf Coast.
Yes.
That was Florida Gulf
Yes.
Coast.
That was Andy Enfield,
Yes.
who ended up being the coach at
UCLA's
SMU.
coach, right?
Okay.
He was the coach at SMU.
And
Now
then-
he's
yeah.
at USC for a
Yeah,
while.
USC, not UCLA.
But it's interesting we mentioned that because Miami, they had it rolling. They hit 16 threes. They had that wonderful atmosphere in Dayton.
yes.
I wish we'd had a show yesterday because it shows the difference in defensive play between an Andy Enfield coach team. That's the weakness. He's never had great defenses. And Tennessee, who always has a great defense.
Yeah.
It has been night and day the quality of shot that Miami O has had. If you watch the coverage, like Bruce Pearl and the guys on the panel, they were all saying, "Hey, this is great shooting by Miami," But where's the defense? You know these guys. Did you look at the scouting report? These guys can shoot. Get out there. Tennessee is much, much better at defending.
And this is not even Rick Barnes' best defensive team.
No.
It's probably his worst defensive team over the past few years. Still a good defensive team, but not elite defensively as the Vols have been in recent years under Rick Barnes. So let's turn our attention to tomorrow, a 7:45 p.m. Central tip-off in OKC. Number 5 Vanderbilt versus number 4 Nebraska. The line has moved. It was Vanderbilt -2.5. It is now Vanderbilt -1.5. We just talked to Tyler Tanner live from OKC. The team, Willie, is approaching this game as if it is a road game, because although it is technically a neutral site game, Nebraska fans have mobbed the arena in Oklahoma City. Nebraska wins its first ever NCAA tournament game yesterday against Troy, and the Commodores are embracing a road game mentality. Despite the fact that it is a neutral court game, they will be severely outnumbered tomorrow.
It is going to be all red in that arena. It's been a full takeover from the start, and this has been something that happens from time to time. And I'm not sure how much the committee looked at that, but for example, when you put North Carolina or Duke in Greensboro or somewhere in that state, you know what you're doing there. Or when University of Kentucky back in the day would get a regional in Louisville or something. Kansas City. It's a big factor. And that's one thing if you've earned that as a 1 seed or a 2 seed. But Nebraska is a 4 seed that gets a huge boost, because you can't tell me that that's not an advantage.
There was an interesting
travel.
Missouri is
the crowd, just the crowd behind you in a basketball game, I think might be a bigger factor than in a hockey game or even a football game.
Missouri is a 10 seed. The Tigers are playing in St. Louis. That's a huge advantage.
And they have great fans.
Yes.
They'll have some people there. And
Yes.
I don't think Miami will have nearly as many.
Yes.
So
Miami,
that's
Florida.
Yes. The other Miami.
Yes.
Yeah.
The traditional Miami.
The other part that really jumps out at me, besides that obvious one, because that's going to jump out at everybody right at the start, but Vanderbilt in the draw, because we had all this. Oh my gosh, how did they get stuck with the 5? And the 4 Nebraska. Okay, that's an interesting matchup, but they have played 2 of the more unique teams in a scouting situation in the country. We talked about McNeese, ball pressure, forcing turnovers, not a great shooting team. This Nebraska team is the complete opposite. They play great defense, but in a different way. They're going to try to run you off the 3-point line. They have one of the best 3-point defenses in all of college basketball. They hold teams to under 30% shooting the 3. And Nebraska's not going to come out there with a bunch of, guys who look like Wembanyama, who just contest with it. They're sort of normal guys, but it's the structure of their defense. C.J. Moore called it like the no-paint defense, like they really spread out. So Vanderbilt's really going to have to adjust. And they're also, McNeese was not a good shooting team. They were more of a slashing, attacking team that was going to try to
shooting well at the beginning of the game.
Well, and that worried me big time when they
Yes.
got ahead. I was like, wait a minute. They're not supposed to be this good of shooters.
Yes.
They sort of came back to earth.
Yes.
But Nebraska is a really good shooting team who is going to spread the court, and they shoot first and ask questions later. And their coach, Fred Hoiberg, he was a great shooter. You remember him, the mayor. He was at Iowa State. He's got a son on the team who's a real scrappy player. They had a kid hit 7 threes yesterday, Sandfort. So
7 of 12 from 3 yesterday.
So Vanderbilt defending the 3 is going to be a big part of this game tomorrow.
Well, they're going to have to, because when you're playing a team like Nebraska, they're going to spread the court. And what I hope it doesn't, force Vandy into is sort of this perimeter game, and they sort of get away from, getting the ball down low. And will it hurt them on the offensive boards? Because they are defended 3s, are they going to be able to position themselves? They didn't do it well against Monique State. We saw them not do it well against teams like Arkansas. I'm just talking about your teams they played more recently. Because if you have a good outside shooting team, you're not doing necessarily what you need to do to box guys out. and get the rebound. So that's what I want to see. If they can defend the three, which I think they will be able to, but in defending the three, can they also get those offensive rebounds?
They also have Nebraska, because they have the shooters, they're good. You think of Okereke and Jalen Washington at times for Vanderbilt. That mid-range, all that space that's open when you have shooters around the perimeter, if you've got a guy in there that can work. And the best player on Nebraska, his name is Mass. Right? I don't know how you say it. Rank?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I watched him yesterday. He's big number 51, 6'10", 250. He is really good in the paint. He can go out and shoot the three, but he was the guy yesterday that was the beneficiary of you got to get out on all these shooters. He can go to work in the lane. Now, on paper or statistically, on the KenPom, Nebraska is not a great offensive rebounding team. So maybe that's in Vanderbilt's favor some.
But I don't think McNeese State necessarily was a good.
And they were hustling. They got some. They got a bunch of boards. So I will say this, Adam. I was impressed and surprised at how good Nebraska's defensive numbers are, because you're gonna see they're gonna fire up those threes, but defensively, that's the reason they're 27-6,
7th in the country in adjusted defensive efficiency per KenPom is Nebraska. One matchup within the matchup I am watching tomorrow: Tyler Nickel versus Price Sanford. Price Sanford, 7 of 12 from 3 yesterday. We know Nickel can also shoot the lights out from 3. Nickel had a confidence-boosting performance against Arkansas, 5 of 7 from 3. They're going to need Tyler Nickel to hit consistently from 3, I think, to keep up in this game.
And that's what I am curious of, because they defend the three so well. They are number 8, as we mentioned, in the country, under 30%. To me, that means, okay, what's there? So do you still try to shoot your normal amounts of threes, or do you try to take what the defense may be giving you, drive by those guys who are pressuring you, get to the lane, and hopefully have some stuff there? I'll be looking for that, because we know Tanner and Miles are good at penetrating.
Yeah.
Nickel, if you cheat out, is just good enough maybe to on the right matchup to get in the lane, make some things happen. So that's something I'm looking for tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how will Vanderbilt sort of play this again. Will they choose to play this outside game, or will they, or will guys like McLaughlin or Okereke in the middle be able to take advantage of that mid-range shot or the shot underneath the basket and getting some of those rebounds? There's a reason McLaughlin went 6 for 6 throughout the game. He got some easy buckets, and he made some shots, but it's going to be that mid-range, because listen, like you said, they defend the 3-point really good, meaning Nebraska. Are you going to try to force it and play that type of game, or are you going to allow the game to come to you, throw it down in the paint if you have an opportunity, and let those big guys sort of work down there?
Here's a trivia question for you. I believe these two programs have met 7 times in their histories. When was the last time Vanderbilt faced Nebraska in basketball?
If it's what I'm thinking, I was there. I was part of the announcer team for one of these matchups. I don't know if it was the most recent, but they played each other in Hawaii in the post-Christmas, whatever they used to call that thing, out in Honolulu. It was a great time. And Danny Nee was the coach. Vanderbilt won the game. It was Drew Maddox, Pax Whitehead, the A-Train, Austin Bates, Billy DeSpaltro. Pretty good Vanderbilt team. Pretty good Nebraska team back then.
I'm seeing a different game.
Okay, there must have been one since then.
They played in November 2010
Okay.
in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Vanderbilt won 59-49
Scintillating basketball.
Yes.
in November 2010.
That's
in
a Kevin Stallings.
San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Did they deflate the balls in those games?
I don't know. That was a good Vanderbilt team, too. 2010. That was.
Let me see. I've got to find. I've got the box score right here. All right, hold on.
That was
Did they
Jeffrey
raise
Taylor.
the rims up 12 feet?
Wasn't that Jeffrey Taylor and
John Jenkins had 22 points.
Yes, out of
for
the 59.
Vanderbilt.
Wow,
Out of the 59,
that guy could shoot.
Jeffrey Taylor had 14.
Yeah, almost half their
The
points.
starting lineup for Vanderbilt in that game.
Festus Ezeli.
Yep. Jeffrey Taylor, Andre Walker, Festus Ezeli, John Jenkins, and Brad Tinsley. That was
Brad
the starting
Tinsley.
lineup.
Nice.
The last time these two teams met in November 2010 in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Brad Tinsley, one of the lesser-known guys. Those were really good teams. They won the SEC tournament in 2012 with some of those guys. Brad Tinsley, his dad famously came to like every game, no matter where the game was. And Kevin Stallings is like, okay, we're going to Australia. We're going to have some exhibition games over the summer. He's like, well, maybe this will be the one time that we don't see Jeff's dad or Brad's dad. Sure enough, they get off the plane. Here's Brad's dad right there. He's like,
That's
I can't believe it. This guy's
right
relentless.
there.
Followed them all the way across the world.
Oh, man.
615-737-1025. We will take your thoughts on the matchup between Vanderbilt and Nebraska. That game coming to you tomorrow, a 7:45 p.m. Central tip-off in Oklahoma City. You can hear that game, as always, right here on 1025 The Game. You can watch it on TNT. Vanderbilt favored by 1.5, a toss-up. That's what I'm expecting this game to be tomorrow. 615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on that. I also want to get back into the Predators, who had a big win last night. They defeat the Seattle Kraken, Willie, not the Seattle Kraken, 3-1. We'll look ahead to the next few games for the Predators. More critical games ahead. 615-737-1025. Right Time HVAC and Cromwell Media are teaming up to bring comfort back to your home. Is your heating system struggling or completely out of commission following the winter storms? Or do you need a fix to get you ready for summer? Nominate yourself for the Right Time Home Rescue and tell us your story. Enter today at thegamenashville.com/HVAC, and you could win a new HVAC system installed by Right Time HVAC. Locally owned and operated. There's never a wrong time to call Right Time.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, not even thinking about that. You know, we got off to a bad start. We were moving slow. We weren't ourselves. I think we had an SEC tournament hangover a little bit, but we found our groove. We played better the last 25 minutes.
So now you're off to play Nebraska. They had an unbelievable game here to get this one. How do you defend them on the three-point line?
Yeah, so I was so worried about McNeese. My staff was worried about Nebraska, but I know they're a heck of a team. They did a great job in the Big Ten. It's going to be a road game for us. It's going to probably be 98% fans in here. I'm used to in our league, them chanting "Go Big Blue." They'll be chanting "Go Big Red." But it's going to be a road game mentality for us.
That was Vanderbilt coach Mark Byington after Vanderbilt's win against McNeese yesterday, stressing the road game mentality, which we've been discussing. It's going to be a heavily partisan Nebraska crowd tomorrow. Vanderbilt versus Nebraska, 7:45 p.m. Central tip-off. All coverage right here on 102.5 The Game. Willie, why don't you give us a score update?
Okay, let me make one comment on that quote, though, before we do that. Because there is a big development here, a big run that just happened to break open a close game. But I don't – Mark Byington doesn't think this way, right? I think he's just focused on the task at hand. But when you think about it, Vanderbilt is a higher-rated team than Nebraska, but they're the lower seed, and Nebraska gets to play in a regional area where they are going to have a big advantage. It is home. You can really make a case that this is not a good draw, even though I think when we looked at the draw from afar, you're like, okay, Nebraska, they haven't been there very much. There's not. It doesn't scare you like if Kansas came across there or, Michigan State, somebody that would have a good seed but also has been there time in and time out. So this is a tricky game and a tough game to prepare for. So Mark Byington, I think one of his strengths is preparing his team, but you can hear it with our interview with Tyler Tanner. They've already gone over it. They did probably last night. They're going to go over it again tonight, like the things that they have to do well tomorrow. But this is a really challenging second-round game against a team that's virtually equal with you, but one team is getting to play with 15,000 fans behind them. Unbelievable. So on the scoreboard, it's the 8 versus 9 game is always interesting. Villanova and Utah State were going head-to-head. And a big run late here by Utah State has them ahead by 10 with 43 seconds to go. I thought that was going to come down to the last shot. I was looking forward to it, but not the case. Have you guys seen Utah State at all? They've got one of these guys that's right out of Central Casting. His name is Mason Falslev. No, that's not right. It's number 22, Carson Templin. He's got like you look at somebody who's got blonde hair, but it's even closer to white hair than blonde hair. It's like silvery, and he's got the classic headband that almost looks like Jim Carrey in Cable Guy, like it's flopping everywhere, and he's one of those guys that's hustling everywhere.
You noticed him.
Yeah, it's like Avila. We were talking about Avila. There's just certain guys that are so unique looking. Like this guy is no question going to make the. And so is Avila. The one final moment or one shining moment. The montage. You got to get those guys in there, right? Like you got to get the Speedo guys who came out the Miami, Ohio swim team. They got to be in the montage.
I think I'm allowed to say this.
Yes.
You always got to beware the white dude in the headband. You've always got to beware of the white dude in the headband. Like Sean Padula. Remember Sean Padula last season for Ole Miss? You've always got to keep an eye out for the white dude in the headband. Those guys.
Who's the guy that wore a headband for Gonzaga?
Drew Timmy.
Big fella. Yes.
Drew Timmy.
Oh, yes.
You've always got to watch out for the white dude with the headband. Robbie Avila, he wears the rec specs. He may also wear a headband. Now that's a guy you definitely have to watch out for. And St. Louis,
deadly combination.
And St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken, is playing Michigan tomorrow. And that's going to be a really interesting matchup.
Tennessee continues to just take
run away
Miami to the woodshed. Yeah, it's 76-56. They pretty much coasted in the second half, but it really shows you the difference in coaching level, I think, Tennessee versus SMU. SMU's got plenty of talent, but Miami carved them up. Tennessee has done such a better job making Miami work for everything they've gotten. And Tennessee also, to their credit, it's one of the things that you don't know what you're getting every day with Tennessee. But when they shoot the ball well, they're tough to beat because you know they're going to be rugged on D and they're going to be a great rebounding team.
It's about matchups. That was a favorable matchup, SMU and Miami of Ohio. But then they go against a team that plays much better defense. In particular, they are a good three-point defending team. That's where the contrast is. You're trying to play your style of basketball only works when the team is not good efficiently with their defense. In Tennessee, as we know and we've watched, they are efficient when it comes to defense.
Jacoby Gillespie, 29 points, 11 of 21 shooting, 6-11 from 3. JP Estrella, 14 points. Felix Okpara, 12 points. Notably, Nate Ament, in 18 minutes, 0 points. That's something to keep an eye on. Tennessee had a great game without its star player today, but
did Utah State win?
Sorry. Utah State, they won.
As the tournament continues, you're going to need Ament to play well. Tennessee on its way.
There's the headband guy. Do you see him in the upper right
there? There he is.
Yeah. Look at him.
You got to watch out for that guy. I'm telling you.
It's not just the headbands. It's the way he plays, too. He's the classic. He's all floor burn team, like Nick Vitale said. He's always diving for balls and hustling.
Yes. Tennessee on its way to taking on Virginia in a 3-6 matchup in the round of 32. A nice orange matchup between Tennessee and Virginia. Once again, Vanderbilt takes on Nebraska tomorrow, 7:45 p.m. Central tip-off. We have all coverage for you here on 102.5 The Game, live from Oklahoma City. The Predators are back in action tomorrow as well. An afternoon puck drop against the Vegas Golden Knights. The Golden Knights' first and only trip, I believe, to Nashville this season. Puck drop at 1, pregame at noon, right here on 102.5 The Game. The return of Colton Sissons to Nashville for the first time since the trade in the offseason. But, Willie, we were touching on this with Elliotte Friedman earlier in the program. And, my favorite website, Tankathon.com, has a remaining schedule strength tab on its NHL page. So I pulled it up, and it's interesting. So the lower the number, the better. So, for example, the Predators are 24th in remaining schedule strength. That's good. You want to be near the bottom in this ranking, not near the top. The Predators 24th out of 32 teams in remaining strength of schedule. They've got tough matchups against the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Minnesota Wild, the Montreal Canadiens, and 2 against the Anaheim Ducks. But as we've mentioned, 2 games left against the LA Kings, 3 games left against the San Jose Sharks. The Predators enter tomorrow's matchup 1 point behind the LA Kings for the final playoff spot in the Western Conference. One thing to keep an eye on, the health of UC Saros, suffered an upper body injury yesterday, I believe during morning skate. He is listed as day-to-day. He took the ice for practice briefly today at Centennial Sportsplex. It sounds like he is not going to be available for tomorrow, and I also think that puts Sunday in doubt as well against Chicago. We'll see. But the Predators, Willie, a prime opportunity to continue to build up in this playoff race. The Vegas Golden Knights haven't had their best season. They enter this game having lost 7 of 10.
And they've been shut out their last 2 games at home, which rarely happens to anybody, let alone a team as good as they are. And last night, it was a particularly strange game. I saw their highlights. They lost, but it was one of those games where their goalies didn't play well. Aiden Hill, I think, gave up goals on the first 3 shots of the game. It was replaced by Akira Schmid. And then Vegas proceeded, I think, to have the analytical advantage. They hit I swear they hit 5 or 6 posts just that they showed on the highlights. So they've been a little unlucky, which always scares me, especially when you have a team with their track record coming in. But what Nashville has done is they've given themselves another chance at the biggest game of the season, right? They have no margin for error. They know every game is the biggest game. And what I liked last night is the crowd. They hadn't played a home game in a couple weeks. I think when they left for the road trip, the fans were probably like, hey, when they come back, are they going to be still in this thing, or what's going to happen? Because remember, the trade deadline had come and got. What exactly is happening? And I thought they were in. It looked like a crowd that was trying to will the team into contention. I like the energy there, and they need that same energy tomorrow. And it's one of those weird afternoon games. And so I hope that Smashville is ready to go because they need all the help they can get. Vegas is really tough, but big back-to-back, right? I mean, you lose 2, all of a sudden you could be 4 or 5 points back like that. You win 2, and you could find yourself all of a sudden above the line. But it's been exciting.
Scott in Shelbyville says, can we talk about the ref calling a minor when Wood got his head shoved into the boards? I mean, at least WWE is up front with the fact that things aren't equal. NHL refs continue to tell you the game is on the up and up, but it really isn't. The Predators never get a fair shake. Now, I'm not going to do the conspiracy theory thing here, but, it's okay to be mad at refs. They're used to it. But I don't think there's a grand conspiracy against the Predators.
No. But that was a call that the thing I didn't understand about it, and it was a close game, it was a 2-1 game, and it was an awkward collision in the boards, which happens a lot. It wasn't a dirty player involved. If it was somebody else who had a reputation.
Was it Riker Evans?
Yeah. On Matt Wood. So sometimes players get the benefit of the doubt. I'm guessing Riker Evans probably did. And there was a big response after the hit. But I had 2 problems. Number one, you could look at that and say, let's see if it was a major penalty. Let's look at the video and then just make sure we got it right. And if you decide that's not a major penalty, okay. But look at it, and so you can be sure. They did not review it. So it was debatable whether that should have been a 5 or not. I thought it should have been a 5. But referees, I think they don't want to make a call that's going to completely change the outlook of the game. A major penalty for 5 minutes can be a game changer. But then all of this stuff happens after, right? And they determined that on the play, Jonathan Marchessault roughed, and he did rough because he went in there hard, which was inspirational, right? That was great to see Jonathan Marchessault so engaged to try to stand up for his teammates. That, to me, was a huge positive. Chris Mason was all over that in our broadcast. He was like, you don't see that from him that often. His buy-in level, I think, is at an all-time high since he's been with the Predators, and he's a guy that could make a big impact in these last 14 games. He's played a little bit better. He probably had his best game as a Predator in Winnipeg a couple nights before that. He was good again last night. He's more noticeable. He's playing with Matt Wood, who's playing so well, and that's given them some other ways to score. But Evans has to defend himself after the hit, and they don't give him a roughing penalty. Somewhere in there, the Predators have to get a power play after that hit, and they come out with a 4-on-4. That was not logical at all. Like, there's ways to do it. Bob Ryan, the longtime great writer for the Boston Globe, used to say, regardless of what sport you're talking about, officiating is an art, not a science. Sometimes there's makeup calls. Sometimes there's things like, okay, what's the right thing to do here? I don't want to call a 5, but Nashville needs to get a power play out of this because it all started with a bad hit in the corner. So for it to be 4-on-4 there was Nashville getting the short end.
Predators and Golden Knights tomorrow. Puck drop at 1, pregame at noon, right here on 102.5 The Game. I'll have your post-game coverage as well as your pre- and post-game coverage on Sunday when the Predators travel to Chicago to take on the Blackhawks. That's a 2 p.m. Central puck drop, 1 p.m. Central pregame on 102.5 The Game. 615-737-1025. We'll wrap up the week by taking it to the bank. Coming up next, Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 102.5 The Game. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. It is time to take it to the bank. Now, I don't think we had Take It to the Bank last week because we weren't on the air because of Vanderbilt's SEC tournament game against Tennessee. So we'll need a scoring update from David Janes. If I'm not mistaken, David has earned 10.5 bonus points for high points win against Wisconsin.
That's for sure.
Derek has earned 2.5 bonus points.
Yes.
For VCU's win against North Carolina. Willie and I, we've been shut out so far. I believe I have one game left on the board. I have Northern Iowa against St. John. So we'll see if I get more bonus points next week. But David, can we get a scoreboard update?
Yeah, so again, it's been 2 weeks since we've done any of this. So this is all I wasn't even here during the time that we last did it. So the last game the last general questions that we had were Vanderbilt versus Tennessee, the last matchup before the SEC tournament. It was Tennessee was favored by 4.5. D-Mason was the only one that picked Vandy. Adam, you and Connor, who picked for me, picked Tennessee. Tennessee covered because Vandy only won by 4.
What? But Vanderbilt was an underdog in that game, weren't they? At Tennessee?
Vanderbilt was the underdog.
Oh, then never mind.
Yeah.
I misspoke.
Okay.
That's on me.
Just checking.
That's
You were
on
just
me.
checking,
Thank
weren't you? You were just checking to see if we were paying attention,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, that's what
You
I'm
just
gonna
wanted to
use.
see me get all mad.
That's the
what happened.
excuse I
was
will
like, hey,
use.
wait a minute.
That's the excuse I will use. Now let's go to, you said UNC versus Duke. Adam, you picked UNC. D-Mace and Connor both picked Duke. And
UNC covered.
Exactly. So you got the point for that.
That's
now-
right.
Now
I noticed you're omitting my answers.
Absolutely.
So
there was some controversy.
we had
There shouldn't be. There shouldn't be any controversy.
So yes, there was. There was a
There
time
was no
frame.
controversy.
There was a time frame.
Yes,
You
it
didn't
was.
go. You
What
didn't?
time frame?
You did not turn in your picks until the
Exactly.
following day.
Absolutely.
But
The
it's not
end
like
of the show. It's always
not
been
the end of the show.
Willie, it's
Yes, it
always
is.
been the end of the
I
show.
got him in.
No, you didn't.
Any of those
Willie.
games tipped off on
Willie,
Saturday.
It's always It always has been that if you don't get whatever it is, you don't get it in by the end of the show. That
When did we make this rule?
Willie,
We've had this rule for a
Adam,
while.
This is not the rule.
did we? Because there were a few times that we could have used it on you, and you called in with your picks.
I am willing
No,
to meet in the middle.
No, I am not meeting in the middle.
I will accept
No.
a penalty, but I will not accept the full
Okay.
penalty.
I am willing to meet in the middle.
Because
and
all my
allow-
picks were in before
No.
tip-off.
I'll-
No.
we'll let
Hold up.
David decide.
Hold up.
But okay, go ahead, David.
Okay,
go
so
ahead.
for starters, one,
Yes.
I will give you will not get the general picks. I will let you have your picks. I
Okay.
don't remember what those picks were, so you have to remind me. But
Well, I got them both.
you got them both?
'cause I
Okay.
missed, yeah.
So then you'll get
You'll get the points
You'll
for
get
the,
the points
the
for
personal
those.
questions.
I will document.
Man.
I will document the
Y'all are just
no.
yeah.
All right. No, listen.
Boy.
Actually, you know what, Willie? You did acknowledge the text.
This
was supposed to be.
was the issue, Willie.
Exactly.
You reacted to my text saying make sure you get your picks in. You sent a little thumbs up.
Which means you
and,
got it.
And then you didn't respond till the next day.
You weren't supposed to send
Exactly.
them to me. You were supposed to send them to Connor. Or you were supposed to send it in the group chat. So
Yes.
I was
it was
in
clearly
Buffalo,
no.
okay?
It was clearly said
There's
send to
nothing
Connor.
else to do.
It was clearly said send to Connor.
Absolutely. So,
No,
again.
this is what I'll do. No. This is
Okay.
what I'll do.
David's making
I
the
will
rule.
give him half of the points that he earned. So we're going to not give him the general, and we'll give him
Okay.
half of his regular picks. So you
Okay,
only
so
get
how many
3
points? Okay.
We
Is
have
that
so many
fair?
texts in
Fair?
our text chain. I have to scroll way
Oh,
back
wow,
to
look
find
at
out.
that.
So Willie
Well,
gets
it-
3 points.
You get 3 points. So again, let me do the math real quick.
Because I got Vanderbilt. I missed. I took.
You have
Duke, and they
135
did not
total
cover.
points, Willie.
He's giving you 135 points.
All right.
Just
Okay.
live with it.
Okay, I'll
You got
take
3
it. I'll
points.
take it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now,
Sticklers for the rules. I got it. The picks were in before the
Don't give me that now, Willie. You would be having a fit if this was any one of us.
Yes.
So, okay, Adam, you have now I'm flustered again. You have 122 total points.
Okay.
For your picks, you said Florida -6.5 over Kentucky. You got that. And you got Michigan over Michigan State.
Okay.
So you got both of those points. D Mace, you said Auburn +8 over Alabama, and then you said Arkansas over Mizzou. I forget which one you got. I think you got the Mizzou. I misspoke about the Vandy one, so you got 1 point off that. So you have 4 total points from the week.
Okay.
And then that is 2.5.
97 for 97 total points.
Does that include his 2.5 bonus points?
His 1.5. He only gets. Oh no.
Well,
I don't count that till next week.
Okay, got it.
I won't count that till next week.
Okay.
So
All right.
And then David, how'd you do?
have 97.
I got 97. Okay.
Picked BYU over Texas Tech, and then I picked USA will sweep all 3 of their games. They did not do that. They lost
In the World
Italy.
Baseball
Yeah, World
Classic.
Baseball Classic.
Yes.
And it looks like I only got. This is terrible radio for me right now. 101
Okay,
points.
Okay.
101. I'm not too far behind.
All right. So
Well, you know,
I
the 10.5
found my
is still there.
documented picks.
okay.
I had Ohio State -4.5 against Indiana. They won easy, and I had Georgia -5.5 at Mississippi State.
Well,
which
next
they-
time, make sure you get your picks
Okay,
in on
lesson
time.
learned, lesson
All
learned.
right.
Now we turn the page.
Now we're all going to be here, so it doesn't
Yes.
matter. Vanderbilt versus Nebraska tomorrow, 7:45 p.m. Vanderbilt favored by 1.5. Over under 146.5 total points in this game. We'll take the over under here. Willie, over
that's-
or under 146.5?
So that's in the 70s, 72-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think it'll be close.
Sure.
I'm going to go slightly under.
Okay, Willie
I'll
is
take the
taking
under.
the under. Derek, over under 146.5 total. Vanderbilt versus Nebraska.
146. Man, it depends on, Tyler Nickel. Give me the under.
I'm going to go slightly over
Yeah, give me the under.
146.5. David?
A great saint once said, "Life's too short to bet the under." Over.
All right. So we're split 2-2 over under. All right. I've mentioned this game a couple of times. I'm intrigued by this matchup. St. Louis, which scored 102 points on Georgia yesterday. Number 9 St. Louis versus number 1 Michigan. Michigan favored by 12.5. Will the Billikens cover tomorrow? Willie Dunn.
I like the Billikens. I think they're a good team. I think they will hang. I think Michigan is the team I picked to win it. Sorry, D Mace. I had to put my. I'm not rooting for them, but as I filled out the bracket, I was like,
You're rooting for them.
I think they're really good.
You're rooting for them.
I'm worried about the pull away at the end of a game.
Yes.
But I think St. Louis will hang around in the game. Hopefully, they will stay within that thing. Was it 12.5?
12.5.
Man, I can see them being within 10, within 8, and then Michigan sprints out at the end with fouls and things like that. Man, but I'll take St. Louis.
Michigan has been playing a lot of close games lately. Not yesterday, although it was close at halftime. They lost by 8 to Purdue, beat Wisconsin by 3, beat Ohio State by 4, beat Michigan State by 10, beat Iowa by 3. I am going to take St. Louis to cover.
St. Louis has got to feel pretty good about how they're playing right
Yes.
now. They scored 100.
Yes. Derek,
It's not like Georgia's a bunch of complete.
will the Billikens cover
Scrubs.
against your hated rival, the Michigan Wolverines?
I think they will. I
Okay,
think they're
we're all
gonna play
going
good
with the
enough to-
Billikens.
But they're a big team. Michigan's a big team, man. But I think they're going to keep it close enough. Do I believe St. Louis will win? No, but they could. I hope they do.
So you're picking the Billikens to cover.
I'm picking the Billikens to cover.
David, will you make it 4-0?
Listen, I gotta be different. I'm gonna pick
All right,
Michigan.
you
I'm
can
sorry.
David takes the Wolverines to cover the 12.5. All right, our individual selections quickly. I know you guys are going to make fun of me for doing this, but it's been working for me, and I just know these things. Duke versus TCU. Duke favored by 11.5. We'll see if Patrick Gungla returns. That would be a huge boost for the Blue Devils. After what I saw yesterday, I'm not taking the 11.5. TCU will cover against Duke. I think it will be a single-digit win for the Blue Devils, hopefully. And in my second one, I will take Houston to cover the 10.5 against Texas A&M tomorrow. Willie?
Okay, I'm going to take D. Mace's Michigan State Spartans minus the 4.5 against Louisville. I'm hoping to get Louisville right the second time. I went against Louisville for South Florida, and they made me look bad. They won pretty easily. But they've got the key guy hurt. I feel like Michigan State will put the screws to them on defense. Give me the Spartans minus 4.5. And tonight, I'm gonna ride Missouri, who I think will have a pretty good fan base there, against Miami. The SEC teams generally have been playing well, and so I'll take Missouri, who is a slight underdog. I think 1.5 is what I've got here. Is that you concur with that, Adam?
Let me double check. Missouri is favored by Miami is favored by 1.5.
Yeah. So give me Missouri plus 1.5.
Okay. Quickly, Derek, your two select.
Man, I can't even put on my computer.
I've got you for it.
Okay,
I got you.
All right.
These are the matchups
Excuses.
tonight.
Well, your picks don't count, Derek. Sorry.
Any of the matchups tonight you want?
Give me. I'm gonna take UCF over UCLA.
Okay, you like UCF to cover the 5.5
Yes, I
against
got
UCLA.
Yep, absolutely.
You want to look at tomorrow? All
Tomorrow's
right.
game. Give me Vandy.
You're going to take Vandy to beat Nebraska.
I'm taking Vandy to beat Nebraska.
All right. David?
All right, boys. So, listen, I was the one who picked High Point for our big challenge. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to say that they cover. I'm not going to say they're going to win. I say they're going to cover against Arkansas tomorrow. I think it's going to be a really good game. I don't know. I'm feeling them right now. And also, this has been working for me as well. I'm going to go with Vandy to make 10+ threes.
Okay.
We shall see. Vanderbilt takes on Nebraska tomorrow, a 7:45 p.m. Central tip-off. You can hear that game right here on 102.5 The Game. The Predators, 2 games this weekend, at home against Vegas tomorrow, on the road against Chicago on Sunday. Both afternoon puck drops, also right here on 102.5 The Game. We will react to it all Monday at 3 p.m.
Be love on your people. Have a safe, blessed, and wonderful weekend. I love you. The team loves you. You hear this music. Don't you forget about us, because we will not forget about you. See you Monday at 3 p.m. on 102.5 The Game. Peace.